to make this more consistent and easier to apply, the zoning administrator recommended that we repeal Chapter 95 and revise the section in the zoning about junk motor vehicles. So essentially, it says that outdoor storage of junk motor vehicles is prohibited, except at a licensed salvage yard or service repair shop. And it does have some exceptions listed. So that's the first public hearing, and we'll take comments on the second law in the next public hearing.
So anyone would like to make any comments on the first law? By all means, please take the podium. Carol, these are new microphones, so you might want to press that button if it's not already on.
Got it, and don't get close.
And I don't think you have to get too close.
Don't get close.
It'll pick you up.
Okay. Good evening, Supervisor Delvecchio and town board members.
It's on.
It's on.
Just pull it down. You can pull it down.
Pull it down a little bit.
Okay, I've gotten too close before, and they've told me not to get close, so. I think the board will remember that I spoke on this law back in August. I have two things to start with. One, I think it's totally irresponsible for the town board to have a public hearing on a law and not have it accessible on the town website. I want to thank Mary Beth, our town clerk. I called her today, and she was nice enough to make some copies tonight. I think that in the future, I did see the publications, but it's very hard for anybody to see the law. My comments are the same, but because I wasn't in the proper forum, which is a public hearing, I wanted to come back tonight and talk about this local law. I understand that we don't want junk cars or parts laying all over properties, and I agree with that. I am not at all against that. I understand that when there's that on properties and surrounding communities, that it devalues the properties, and it's not a good thing. So I just want to say that my comments are not that I'm against the town having some type of a outdoor storage or junk motor vehicle law. When I looked over this last time, and I did make comments, and I know that the attorney did say that it would be as is without my comments in it, and it is. That's also what I was trying to find out, whether my comments did make a revision or not, which they did not. The exceptions, which is D, let me just find it on here. The exceptions from this section exempted from requirements are, and my problem is really vehicle stepped and stored. I also would like to see the town put in here something about our local repair shops. I mentioned that at the last meeting. This local law talks about 180 days, and I'd like to see some of the repair shops, you know, adhere to not having junk on their property. Just because they're a repair shop, I don't think they should get away with having vehicles there for an extended time. Number 5, D number 5, says antique or classic vehicle, provided that in the opinion of the zoning administrator, such automobile is stored and kept under conditions not constituting a public nuisance or an attractive nuisance. I did speak at the last meeting about what I wanted to see in here was a definition of an antique and classic vehicle. Your antique car policies look at an antique and classic vehicle as 25 years or older. I would like to not have it subject to the zoning administrator. I think that that's subjective, and I'm one that likes to see it in the law where I can read it. So therefore, I would appreciate the law having something put in here. Now, while I speak of an antique auto being 25 years or older, there are collector's vehicles that are not 25 years or older. And they're collectors for vehicles for whatever reason. And so, you know, I understand that it's hard to limit it to antique and classic, but again, I have a problem with it being subjective to the zoning administrator. I think we need more verbiage to also talk about storage. I know it talks in here a lot about being in a garage or a building, there are a lot of properties that may not have a garage, but they may have what I have, which is a Shelter Logic. It's a tent building where it's totally enclosed. Or they may just cover their car for the winter. And so if there was a car on there that is deemed to be an antique or collectible car, I would like a person to have the opportunity to cover their car and not have to build a garage just because of this law. Again, I agree 100% that we shouldn't have stuff laying around, but those are the changes that I would like to see. And again, I'd also like to see some of our repair shops, maybe some of our car dealer shops that are in town, also not have anything laying around. Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you. Gary Veeder, Salt Point Turnpike, Pleasant Valley. I agree with part of what was expressed by Carol Campbell. I don't like anything that refers to the opinion of the zoning administrator. I think it should be followed by something written in here, not an opinion. That's one. I don't think it's all parts of this. Some of them are probably not enforceable. A motor vehicle advertised for sale for a period of not more than 60 days. It sounds reasonable, but who goes out and looks? Nobody goes out and looks. They don't know how long it's been there. I know that from signs. Signs are out there, illegal signs are out there for years. This one sounds like a junkyard to me. Number 3, motor vehicles kept and stored by commercial establishments on their own property for the purpose of removing parts therefrom for use in vehicles during their regular course of business. Isn't that the same thing as a junkyard? How long can it sit there? How many parts do they need to take out? Do they have to take out any, or do they wait for another vehicle, the same thing? It's just ambiguous. I would have liked to had probably more time to read this. I thank for getting it here tonight. I read it quickly. But those are the major points. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Terrence Lee. Just to piggyback on her comment, though, a little bit more, though. You do kind of put a little emphasis on, let's say somebody has a 4-car garage. They can store 4 junk vehicles in there. Person who doesn't have a garage, who still would like to have that vehicle as a spare vehicle or something, doesn't have that same opportunity. So, at minimum, like she said, you should allow the tents, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna pass this. Because, you know, your neighbor can have 4 of them in his garage, and the next door neighbor can have none. You know, it's kind of unfair. So if you're allowed to put up, maybe you can put in there that if you're going to have it, you're allowed to put up one of these temporary shelters, something like that. But, you know, short of that, it does kind of, you know, definitely not a socialist here, but it does put those who have versus those who don't, you know, I mean, at a disadvantage.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one else on this particular law?
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Before we close it, do we know if the comments have come back from the county planning yet on this?
No.
We haven't. So I think we should hold it open until the next meeting, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Just until we get those comments back.
That's
So
fine.
if anyone wants to make another comment next time.
So I move that we keep it open until we hear back?
Yeah,
Second.
just to keep it open till the next
Okay.
town board meeting, yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we go to the next one? Public hearing at 7:15. We're almost back on time. All right. I am in receipt of the affidavit of posting pertaining to a local law establishing Chapter 96 of Town Code regulating grass maintenance at vacant and abandoned properties by the Town Clerk Mary Beth Muir dated September 7, 2022, and the affidavit of publication of Northern Dutchess News dated September 7, 2022.
I make a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anyone like to speak on this law change?
So this law is about grass maintenance. It only applies to vacant and abandoned properties. And it says that lawns need to be maintained at no higher than 10 inches. And if lawns get taller than that, the town can mow them and put the charge back on the tax bill. Again, only for vacant and abandoned properties. And it does also offer an opportunity for the town to impose fines. This is, sometimes there are problem properties that are not occupied and aren't being taken care of.
Do you mind if I just ask one quick question? Vacant and abandoned, I understand the intent of the law. Let's say somebody has a piece of property that has no buildings, nothing on it, it's not even a lawn or whatnot. Would that not be subject to this? Like
It
if you just
wouldn't.
own property?
It wouldn't. The way it says applies to all lots, plots, or parcels of land on which residential, non-residential, and/or mixed-use buildings are located.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. If you
Yes.
just own undeveloped
Field,
woods, like
yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
need to.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
It's mostly it's really the banks really need to step up and do what they're supposed to do when they have a place that they've taken back or whatever, so.
The mic's open for anybody.
Microphone's open if anyone would like to speak on this particular law.
Okay. In my opinion, this has several things. Well, first off, under your definitions, vacant, it says any land. It doesn't say structure or anything. It says, first thing it says is vacant land, with a comma. So.
Okay, we can look at that, yeah, I
Yeah.
see your point.
And secondly, we have many houses that have trees out in front. They have no front lawn. Will they have to, this is what's the problem with this law. Will they have to cut the trees down and create a lawn? Or if there was a lawn, I know you're looking at me like this, but these are serious questions.
No,
If they have a lawn,
I'm not
you know,
throwing it away. I
it's
don't-
just like, let's do the Ruddle Park up there, for instance. You used to come down over the hill and you used to be able to see everybody fly the planes at West Road. Okay, that's all overgrown now. Those are mostly scrub trees that are in there, they're maybe 15 years old. So that eventually, would transition from grass to trees. And so is this gonna be within the edge of the road? How much of the lawn do you have to, if you have a back lawn on the property, do you have to mow the back lawn and the front lawn? This is gonna be very subjective, like the antique car thing. It's gonna be a person's opinion when they go out there on how much you should mow. Because what if you don't want that lawn anymore, that part to be a lawn? What if you want the front to grow up and be private? There's, my friends used to own a house with the waterfall right down the road here. That was lawn all the way out. Now the whole front is grown up. Under this, that would have been a finable offense. They would have had to cut those trees down before, sure it would, because they
No,
would have
because
been.
it's not vacant, I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Okay, so if you're living in it, you can let it grow. If you're not living in it, you can't let it grow. See, another thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Really.
Well, but we're talking about shorter term solutions, and I think you're talking longer term. So what I'm getting at is, I think we're talking like, say for instance, there was a house across the street from me that the town many years ago knocked down, right? But before the town did that, there was no lawn mowing law for, it was horrendous. So myself and some neighbors would eventually go and mow the guy's lawn. We technically shouldn't have to do that.
Trespass, yes, but, yeah.
Right, so, but what I'm getting at is, that would solve that problem. We're not talking in terms of
You make a decision to leave, let things grow.
Right, we're not
You're
gonna,
living
I
there.
mean, you're talking 10
Well,
years of
what
growth
if you
for
make a
trees to
decision-
grow.
What if you're living in another state and you just make the decision to let things grow on that property, you just mow, clear for the fire, because we have a fire code that enforces this also. You clear for the fire code, you clear around the property, and you let the rest of it grow. I mean, not that I'm advocating for this, but this is one of the things that becomes very subjective about this law. Going in and, you know, this guy can do it, and wait a minute, I want it to look like the property next door who has all trees in front. So at some point, I gotta let the trees grow, otherwise I'm gonna keep mowing them down. So that's just it. It's very opinionated when you show up on a property, how it should be kept. You know, even driving here, we have a fire code about things growing on the side of the houses. Majority of the houses on the way here have things growing against them. All of those could be violations of, you know, our fire code going along. So that's it. It's just very, 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 you know, hard to enforce.
Phil Apicino, Ravine Road. I agree with the gentleman and a couple other comments. Some of the wording in the front where it says vacant land, and then where it says applicability kind of clears that all up. But there's some lines in there that you would think a piece of vacant land would be a piece of undeveloped land. If somebody has 10 acres with 1,000 feet of frontage, are you saying now that that land has to be maintained? I know you're saying it has to have structures on there, but there are properties in town that have structures that are uninhabitable. You know, they're old farms, some buildings, nobody's living in them, but now if this law gets passed, will they be required to maintain, if they don't even have a lawn on those properties? So you're saying, is it vegetation that grows above 10 inches? Some people like to have a pasture and don't want a lot of lawn. They like a buffer. Talking about buffers, John's here. A lot of our roads, the first 20 feet from the curb in is owned by the town. Now, a lot of homeowners cut that grass, but what if they decided, no, I'm not gonna cut that grass? John's not gonna be out there every week to cut that grass. I mean, they do it a few times a year, John, where a tractor comes in and cuts it when it gets tall enough. So I think there needs to be some clarifications. It just seems like it could fall into areas that may hurt people unintentionally.
Yeah, we'll take the comments back to Sarah and go over it with her. She's the one who would be enforcing it.
And it definitely says lawns, you know, but if you're saying, okay, if someone doesn't put a lawn in and wants to keep the vegetation in the front just for privacy on their property, you know, it just seems like there needs to be some clarifications. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil.
Anyone else?
I'm still Gary Veeder. Pleasant Valley. When this was first brought up, I brought up a couple of things. One was farms. They got buildings. Is that a lawn? What is that? Doesn't address it. Part of what was discussed here is the road right away. The other one is streams. Streams usually have a quite a wide, particularly named streams or streams of certain class, Wappingers, you're not supposed to touch within so much. It's again, it leads, and I kind of agree with the purpose. And we do not want overgrown, abandoned houses, overgrown abandoned houses. I agree with that. But it has to be done in a manner that doesn't leave people wondering whether they're in violation. I mow 3 acres. I'm getting pretty old. I don't know if I'm gonna mow that all the time. What about growing bee stuff? Is that gonna be a violation?
It's something to that.
Anybody else?
Carol Campbell, Marshall Road. I agree with the comments, and thank you for this gentleman for pointing out the 96-2, which is more of a definition of what this is talking about than 96-3, where it talks about vacant. I did want to point out, and it does say here, that this provision, this is a supplement to Property Maintenance Code of New York State. We already have a property maintenance code in New York State. And I understand that the towns are allowed to make their laws more stringent, not less stringent. I believe, I didn't read the state code specifically, but I think it's 6 inches and we're going 10, which, you know, is kind of an overstretch. One thing I did want to ask is, seeing that, you know, we talk about enforcement, and it's nice to have these laws, but we have to enforce them. So my question is, you know, we were blessed in this town for a few years to have 3 people in our building department that were certified code enforcement officers by the state. My question is whether we have anybody in that office now that's certified code enforcement.
We do.
Thank you. I appreciate you answering that. The biggest problem that I have with this law, and I mentioned it last time I was here, is if you look at C, which deals with compliance, I'll read it off my notes from last time. Compliance, correction, or removal by town, 3B, take necessary steps to correct or remove violations either by Town of Pleasant Valley employees or the town's designee or agent. I think that we should strike Pleasant Valley employees. My question to the town last time I spoke is the same. Would we need to hire additional employees to take care of cutting the grass on abandoned properties? Or would we have to pay them overtime? I don't think that we should. And then the big thing is insurance for a town employee to do work on somebody else's property. And if we have town employees doing this, they're taken away from maintaining the properties that we have here in town. So I agree with all the other things that were said. I too understand that we shouldn't have abandoned properties that, you know, that run amok. But like Gary, I agree. I don't think that we need to open up a can of worms where we would be penalizing our citizens. So I think that it should more clearly depict what vacant is. Thank you.
Carol, just to give you what I understand to be how they would handle that with the mowing of the lawns, it would not be our staff. We would hire a company and present the bill to the bank or whoever has the deed to that property.
That's fine, but the
probably what would
law,
happen.
the law says that.
Yeah.
This law that you might pass, so change that, that'd be good.
Anyone else?
So you would hire, so you would hire a company, would that go out as a?
State your name and address
TR, Pleasant Valley. So you would hire a company, would that go out as a sealed bid?
No.
So you just hire whoever
We
at whatever
would hire
rate?
a company that'd be available, get a price, whatever the case may be, and that gets passed on to the owner of the property at that time.
As different,
If
again,
it's the
different
bank-
landscaping
if it's
companies
the
charge
bank-
different rates.
If it's the bank has to pay it.
Right, but different landscaping companies charge different rates.
We would use our procurement policy.
Right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Without hearing any more?
Really, before you close it or whatever, can I just ask Emily, just to refresh me on the whole process here? If we did want to make changes and present this again to the public, would we close this public hearing and then advertise for a new one with any of the changes, or what would be the process for that?
That's probably the cleanest way to do it. Yeah, if it's very minor changes, we could keep it open, but I assume we do want to make some changes.
I think that
Or
there are
at
some
least
changes that could be
consider some.
added. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some minor things here.
I think we should probably close it and then make the changes and reopen it if that's,
The
way
same
you
as the
wanna
other
go.
one as well. We're going to keep that one open as well.
we can actually No, I want to keep the other one open because we haven't gotten the comments back yet, but
Right.
this one we can close.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I move we close this hearing to the public at this present time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Where are we? Okay, oral committee reports, presentations. Neither of our county legislators are here, I believe. They have a meeting tonight. Assessor's report. I have his. He was ill today. So a quarterly departmental report from the assessor's office, Garth Slocum. Over the last quarter, the assessment roll has been finalized and any appeals to that roll have been received. A total of 5 SCAR, small claim assessment review cases were filed, for which we were from one tax grievance company from downstate and the remaining one from the individual resident. As of the date, those cases are pending hearing. In addition, 2 Article 7 proceedings were initiated. Both relate to residential properties. These cases are being handled by counsel. The office is continuing the ongoing process of reviewing the incoming sales and changes to the assessment inventory for the purpose of preparing the assessment roll for the upcoming year. Routine calls, inquiries continue to come in. Most of these calls are regarding taxes, exemptions, and potential home buyers. The main focus of this next quarter will be sending exemption renewals to taxpayers. That's from our assessor. At this time, we'd like to bring to the podium our highway department, our highway superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. How's everybody this evening? Good, I hope. That good, huh? Wow. So my highway report is kind of short, and we've only had 2 months. I know we kind of moved things around a little bit. We're still patching roads, and we're starting to get into our tree season now that the poison ivy is dying. So we'll be out there cutting down trees that endanger our roadways. We have a ton of them. We fixed 2 collapsed pipes over the last month or so. One was on Traver Road, another one was over on the intersection of Brown and Route 44. We assisted New York State DOT in fixing that pipe. Kind of neat because everybody thought it was an old concrete pipe, but it wasn't. It was actually an old hand-formed square concrete basin drain, which was kind of interesting to see. They haven't been built in probably 50 years like that, so it was kind of a neat thing to see, and most of it was still there and working, so we left it alone and we just made our repair, and yeah, it was kind of neat. So yeah, even the guys from the state were like, we haven't seen these in a long, long time. We were back up on Ward and Clinton Avenues, maintaining those roads again, filling in the potholes with item 4 and dirt as we needed. We also started, I don't know if anybody's seen the basin truck out, but we've started sucking out our basins, trying to get ready for wintertime, get all the grit and grime out of them and get them ready. And we started getting ready for winter. I hate that 5-letter word, right? 5 letters? But yes, it's coming. Unfortunately, we are in September, and winter's coming right around the corner. So far this year, I've spent $355,352.51 in paving. Those are the roads that we paved, that little short section of Ward, which was always a mess. And then we did, Bristol and all that we also did. So that's where we are at this point. Any questions for me?
Did you want to address anything on the sweeper that you?
I can. I know you had it on old business, but that's no problem. I can bring that up now. It actually makes it easier.
You're here. You might as
So
well.
you guys should have in front of you the updated pricing from Timco. So the price for a new sweeper, and I apologize, I was hoping to have the financing numbers with this quote. They didn't get a chance to get them to me today, so hopefully I'll have them either by the end of the week, and I can forward them to you. So the total cost of the sweeper is $353,990. It's up about $30,000 from the original quote I had a few months ago. Everything's up in price for obvious reasons. Ballpark figures, let Let me pull up my other sheet here. So to ballpark the figures at the original price, so you figure you'd probably be somewhere around 60, on a 6-year option, you'd probably be somewhere around 65 to 68,000 on a 6-year option to buy. That's based off like a 3% APR. Obviously, that all depends on how our credit works out with the town. So these numbers aren't written in stone. I'm just doing quick math in my head. You know, if you did a 4-year option, the APR would go down to somewhere around 2.8. You know, and then we'd probably be around probably closer to 100,000 a year if you did the 4-year option. The 6-year option is closer to about what we spend now renting a truck. I got kind of a bit of a shock about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago when I was discussing with the company and they're like the only company left in town since Easy Street's gone, and there's like one other guy across the river, I think, that does sweeping. So he is currently charging $11,000 a week for the rental of the vehicle and the truck, which is almost double of what it was last year. So rather than being able to have him for a month, he said, I can maybe squeeze you in for 3 weeks at that price for $11,000 a week. He's only going to charge me for 2 weeks, basically, just to try to make sure we get close to our MS4 commitments, you know, which, you know, we need to suck out 80% of our basins and sweep 75% of our roads, so on and so forth. So that's kind of where we're at. It's, you know, and again, like I went over all the numbers as far as, you know, repairs. I know I've talked to a lot of people like, oh my God, there's a lot of repairs. A brand new machine is not going to have a lot of repairs. The annual maintenance on the machine is going to be maybe somewhere around $8,000 a year, give or take. You know, and a lot of that stuff, we're not in a position where we would use the machine every single day. So like larger towns and cities that spend, you know, tens of thousands of dollars replacing brushes and brooms and the curb sweeps and the rubbers, we're not going to have those heavy expenses because we only need to use it. We can space it out throughout the year, so our machine won't run every single day. And, you know, and there's no way we're going to spend $50,000 a year fixing one machine. Right. So when I get those numbers, I'll pass them on to the board and, you know, and then we can go from there.
Thank you, John. Did you have something? Mike?
Yeah, I just, quick, how many weeks right now, you're saying $11,000 now a week, to meet those, that 75% and that 80%, how many weeks does that typically, do you have to hire that
We
person?
normally would use the sweeper for about a month.
Okay,
And again, that's Mother Nature and stuff, you know, obviously she works against us sometimes, but generally speaking, and this is going back, you know, to the previous highway super, we were about a month or so, maybe 6 weeks.
Okay.
You know, if we had, you know, we could squeeze out of him, but now it's just, and it's tough again. The other problem is he is the only game in town, so I can't call up 3 other companies and go, hey, can you send me a sweeper this week? There's nobody there.
thank you.
Yep.
And I'm seeing here that delivery, we're looking at 210 to 240 days. So if we jumped on this next week, chances are iffy that we would have it for next spring.
Right, and the only reason those dates are so quick is Timco's one of the only manufacturers that actually has a stockpile of different chassis. They have both Freightliner and international chassis that they have in stock. It's the other parts they're kind of waiting for to be made, but so, you know, that's, you know, some of the other companies are out over a year, you know.
And you would need it like starting around end of April.
If possible, to not shoot ourselves in the foot to pay for the same machine twice, so to speak. So I don't want to have to be renting a machine and then, you know, kind of, you know, and then paying for a machine, you know. So yeah, if we could, you know, if they could make that work, it would be great.
So if we're going to do this, the quicker we do it, the better.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Are you going to say something? Okay. Recreation report.
Hi. I want to thank the board and the public for the opportunity to discuss our recreation programs tonight. I'm going to start with soccer. Currently, late registration with a paid wait list is still being accepted for all divisions except soccer tots. There really are only 1 or 2 openings in some of the divisions, so if you're interested, please don't wait to register. We had a very successful opening day. Thank you, Tracy Santiago, for all your hard work on this, and in organizing the PV soccer players' parade marchers in the PV weekend parade yesterday. Currently, we have for our in-house program 152 players. For the LDT, which is U11 through U19, we have 100 players, and soccer tots, we have 17, so there's still openings in this division. The Bauer Park maintenance that was done in the spring, the fields looked great before the drought, but it is coming back to life with the rain we've been getting. This is where the LDT games and practices will be held. Camps, special thanks to Climate Smart members Gene Curley and Mita Plotnick for the composting project they spearheaded with our campers this summer. We have a camper who will continue taking care of the composter for this winter. So we're really excited about that. I also want to thank Angel Abreu for organizing the Camp Sunny Days parade marches in the PV weekend parade yesterday. Great job, Angel. Soccer camp, we had 41 campers. Camp Sunny Days, we had a total of 160 campers this season. The before and after program was very successful. Over half of the campers were enrolled in these programs. And last year it was kind of hit or miss, but this year the parents really needed it. So basketball camp was July 25th through July 29th. We had it at Helen Waldridge Park at the court, and they had a full week of camp without any cancellations, which was really good. Summer hoops, this was an 8-week summer drop-in program with 2 divisions. It was youth 4th through 6th grades, and then 7th grade through college. Thank you, coaches Dersh, Cotta, and Chapman for running this program. We had a couple of cancellations, and they extended the program accordingly. Senior trips. Our first trip to Villa Roma, which was a salute to the American Bandstand, was sold out. Lisa Aravena, our senior program coordinator, has a Bob Hope tribute planned for November 15th at AquaTurf, which is Plantsville, Connecticut. Spaces are filling up quickly, so don't wait to register. The town clerk and her staff are accepting reservations Monday through Thursday. Fridays, please register during the weekly drop-in. Lisa is also in the process of scheduling a casino trip before the end of the year, so check the website. We try to keep it up to date with information. Summer concert series. We had 4 free concerts under Perfect Night Skies. We look forward to next year's season. Tennis courts up at Helen Aldridge. Craftco started working on the court today. They power washed and cleaned the perimeter of all the overgrowth of weeds, small trees, etc. They are continuing to work on the court and should be finished hopefully by next week, depending on weather. So of course it's raining tomorrow, so tomorrow is a wash. But pickleball. I have a prior basketball coach that wants to run a pickleball league. She was excited to hear that we will have 2 pickleball courts at Helen Aldridge once the maintenance on the tennis courts is completed. We plan on meeting and setting up some kind of a program for the fall. The bathrooms at Helen Aldridge, the MIG grant, we are waiting for additional forms from the county. We are excited that the town board is moving forward with the well project tonight, which is just a little part of the grant. Big news, the fall-winter youth basketball program. I delivered flyers to the Arlington Central School District schools today. I am waiting for approval from Hyde Park and Millbrook to distribute the flyers to their schools also. I'm still waiting for a decision from BOCES regarding the gym rentals. I have submitted rentals to the Arlington Central School District schools, including the schools that were utilized by the LaGrange Basketball League. I am also still waiting to hear from Arlington regarding the rental costs when a custodian is not scheduled. PV basketball registration started last week. We're getting a good response. Rich Chapman, the PV basketball director, myself, and the Beekman basketball director have met, and we are coordinating some games in the various divisions with Beekman. There will not be a LaGrange basketball program this year, so we are expecting some of their players to come to Pleasant Valley, Beekman, and probably East Fishkill. So who knows what we're going to have. The MOU, this is an agreement with Arlington Central School District and the town of Pleasant Valley regarding field usage at West Road School and the gym usage in Arlington Central School District. The updated MOU was sent to Arlington in July, and we are still waiting for their
Still waiting,
modifications.
okay.
The district is going to accomplish maintenance on one of the West Road School soccer fields this fall. Our soccer director, Tracy Santiago, has planned accordingly with respect to field usage. She has also coordinated with PV Little League to ensure both sports are taken care of with respect to field usage. Internships. The NABA intern, Matthew Cross, now wants to volunteer a couple of hours once or twice a week in the recreation department. His internship ended the end of August, but he wants to come back as a volunteer a couple hours each week, and he'll start this Thursday, coming in for a couple of hours. Faith McIntosh, the smart staffing intern, will be able to continue his internship whenever school is not in session. So Monday, September 26th, Faith will be working at the recreation office. I'm really excited that they want to continue working for the recreation department, and actually one of them is volunteering. The assistant recreation director position. I've been receiving resumes for this position from our email blasts and announcement on our rec homepage. So I'm definitely getting a better response than we did from Indeed. So it was well worth it. I am being hopeful that we should be able to present, I should be able to present a candidate to the town board for approval at the October workshop meeting. And then last but not least, the PCAHV grant. I'm excited to announce that the Climate Smart Committee is applying for this grant, and I know during your presentation you're going to bring us up to date on that. So, does anybody have any questions?
Would setting up another meeting between myself, yourself, and John, was it from?
Wilson.
John Wilson, help move that along?
I mean, I don't
They
know.
seem
Your
to
guess is-
respond a little better in person than they do just back and forth.
I can try. I can try.
Let's try.
Okay. Thank you all for your time and consideration.
Thank you. This time, we'd like to bring up, our town clerk. All the way back from vacation. Right on the first day, you get thrown right back into the whole thing. Look how happy she is to be back.
Good evening, everyone. So my report is from July 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2022. So we did 84 dog renewals. We did 1 dog seizure. We did 9 marriage licenses, 18 marriage transcripts, 1 home birth transcript. Death certificates, we did 25 transcripts. Hunting and fishing licenses, we sold 30. We did 1 peddler's permit, that is the fee. The games of chance, we did 1 permit. Total monies to the supervisor was $2,005.97. Total monies to New York State was $4,368.03. The transfer station, please note these amounts just reflect the income received from refuse ticket sales. It does not include any expenses that the transfer station has incurred. So that the month of July, we took in $5,947. The month of August, we took in $6,245. So total to date is $45,983. We did 32 handicap tag renewals. We had 3 FOIL requests and 2 are still pending. As I stated in my last report, the town clerk's office was teaming up with the rec department again to offer a flu clinic this fall. Due to a pharmacist shortage nationwide, Kevin from Walgreens is having difficulty with our original date of Friday, October 14th. He's willing to come in on his day off, which is a Saturday, so we're trying to figure out a new date. Our senior group would prefer a Friday, so Kevin stated that if Walgreens hires someone, then Fridays will be a possibility. Sandy and I are still working out the details for that, so we will keep everyone updated for that. I'd like to give a big shout out to Nick Moustakis, Blacktop Seal Coating. They did an awesome job, seal coating, stenciling, and donating the 2 new parking spots at the town hall for veterans only. This was a vision, and he made it happen. Next up, the metal veteran signs will be put up by our Highway Superintendent, John Baxter, and his crew. Thank you, John, for getting the 2 metal signs for me. In regards to Pleasant Valley Weekend, my deputy Kathy Miller and I would like to say what a pleasure it was to work with the chairwoman for the Pleasant Valley Weekend Committee, Terry McCormick. We all worked closely together the last 2 months, making sure we obtained the correct paperwork for all the peddlers' permits, and there was a lot, a lot. Throughout the whole process, things went very smoothly, and due to her constant communication several times a day with us and her efficiency. So we just wanted to recognize her and say thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. She made things very smoothly for our office, and we really appreciate it. I'd just like to give a big sincere appreciation and gratitude to my deputies, Kathy and Debbie, for all their extra help during my vacation. Their extra efforts have not gone unnoticed. They are truly an asset to the clerk's office. Thank you, everybody.
If I can I piggyback on that last part? So while our town clerk was on vacation, I fully anticipated having someone brand new to the office coming in asking questions. What do I do with this? What do I do with that? And every time I stuck my head in a little bit, you ladies need any help or anything like that? They had it under control. There was no emergencies. There was nothing running out of there. And I think that's a tribute to you for coming right on and joining
Yeah.
on, and Kathy as well. So they did a
Yes.
great job.
Terrific. Very proud of them. Thank you. Thank you.
And our zoning department is not here. Sarah's on vacation, and I believe she has one of her people who would have stood in for her on jury duty, and the other one doesn't speak in public. So we're going to give them a pass on this one. We're going to go to Climate Smart.
Hi, how are you?
We're going to report.
Good evening. Actually, Pleasant Valley should be the
You must be Sandra Larkin.
I am Sandra Larkin. Did I have to give my name and where I live?
Yeah.
Sandra
No,
Larkin, Salt
just say,
Point.
I am Sandra Larkin from Climate Smart.
I am Sandra Larkin from Climate Smart. Anyway, I'm excited because this town should be extremely proud because today it was official that Pleasant Valley is a bronze certified Climate Smart community.
All right.
And actually, compared to other ones, it is even, you should be more proud because we never spent any money, taxpayer, or got any grants, where other towns, I noticed, they do get grants to achieve the bronze status. We did nothing. We did it on our own with some support, and it was a long haul, but you should all be proud. I do have a question regarding that. We will be getting 2 signs that say that. I, of course, would like to have them put on the 2 Welcome to Pleasant Valley signs. Who do I speak to about that?
Come on and we'll figure out how that works.
Okay, I
don't
didn't get
know.
the signs yet, but when I do,
Yeah, let me
Okay.
know, we'll plan that out. the Rotary made the signs?
I think they donated them to the town. It says, yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll
soon.
find out. We'll find out.
All right, I will let you know when I get the signs, and we can figure it all out. So what else have we been doing? We had 2 very successful repair cafes, and coming up on Saturday, October 1st, we will have our next repair cafe. That will be the final one for this year, and we will resume back in January. And everybody should come, because it's awesome. We even had a gentleman come in with a children's trike that he came in riding, and it was fixed, and he was happy, and so many other things were fixed that day. So if you have treasures, you want them fixed, come join us October 1st. As Sandy mentioned, yes, we did collaborate with Recreation Department on composting at camp, and it was very successful. The kids had a lot of fun playing in the dirt and doing their composting. You know, they brought stuff in from their homes. They composted at the camp, and it seems to work, and the composter is still there, and hopefully we'll just keep expanding that at Helen Aldrich. I guess I should go in order, but I'm going to skip around a bit and go back to that grant that Sandy was talking about. Being that we were collaborating with Rec on Camp Sunny Days, we were spending time there, looking around the park, noticing that, of course, there are a lot of capital improvements that the park needs that they're taking care of. But one thing that the park really needs is ecological health restored. And somehow we just happened to find a grant that specifically met that need. So we are currently working on the grant application, and hopefully we'll be able to get the grant and put up some plantings up there, flowers, pollinator gardens, trees, so that there's some shade to go along with our shade policy, and a community garden, so that we can get involved in community gardens. So if you don't have room, those people that live in apartments, you can start growing your stuff in your own little plot at Helen Aldrich. So I'll keep you posted on the update on that. We've also been doing successful movie nights at the library once a month. Tomorrow's movie is the sequel to An Inconvenient Truth to go along with Sustainable Hudson Valley's Climate Week. And tonight, actually, I had to leave. There was a solar, community solar at the library. It was an explanation of the new solar farm that's coming on Soul Point Turnpike, not Soul Point Turnpike, on 44. And the gentleman was there who is part of that, and he was explaining to people what that will be like. We will have another event probably in the spring, because he won't really be doing any work until next year. On Saturday, there will be another event at the library, and that will be on electric vehicles. So if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything, come to that. It is from 11 to 2, I believe. There will be at least 10 cars outside with their owners, so they can answer specific questions that you may have from someone that's been using an electric vehicle. It should be a really great afternoon. What else are we doing? We did have other events at the library in the spring, since I haven't been given a report in a while, and they were on composting because it was spring, so we thought about planting, composting, container gardening, and the most attended event ever at the library was on native and pollinator plants. And it was a lot of success, and that's why I think, too, doing something at Helen Aldrich, people really care about the bees and birds and snakes and everything else. So everything just seems to be tying in. With that, we sent you guys some information about Town Hall. I mean, now we have reached bronze, so we're going to start moving and looking at moving to silver. But we're not going to be as pressed as we were with bronze. We're going to take it a little slower. But we really need to be in the loop with you guys if you're moving forward on anything in Town Hall. There is a lot of money to be had. There are a lot of ways to make that building super green and be the, eye of everybody, if you would like. But please keep us in the loop, invite us to meetings, have us there. We're here for you. Town Hall, the grant. CAPI, that wonderful program, has been pushed now till November. So we're still waiting to get started on that. Again, that will also be very helpful for whatever you're going to do at Town Hall, because it's going to be looking at our usage here over time, and so we know how to move forward. And like I said, moving forward, we have to look back at the initiatives. I know I was working on benchmarking, which also ties into capping, which is looking at how much electricity we use, how much everything we use. And would be nice also to maybe delve into getting LED street lighting. There are a lot of grants out there, so maybe that's something else we'll be looking into. But that is all we are up to. And I'm going to go back to doing my happy dance, because we made bronze.
I don't
Congratulations.
think anybody understands how big this bronze situation is for the town.
Well, to give you an idea.
Yeah,
In
good.
Dutchess
Thank you.
County, there are only 7 other towns/cities/villages that have gotten bronze, and the county itself has gotten bronze. And now we have bronze. So,
But the committee worked extremely hard.
Thank you, Mary.
You should be very, very proud of yourselves. And each one of the items that they had to accomplish on this list was only like 3 or 4 points per thing. I'm telling you, it was, and we had to go to what,
120 points.
20 points, and every single one of them had to be worked on. So it was tedious, it was time-consuming,
Very.
and you should be very proud of yourselves.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention, if the grant that you're applying for, if the town is the applicant, the town board should do a resolution to apply for the grant, so.
Well, the grant's due September 30th, so how do I get that accomplished?
Well, we could do it retroactively if we have to, but it is
Yeah, we
something
can.
that should come to
If I
the,
can see what you're applying, bring it on in, we'll get on it right away,
Okay,
okay?
so you just need a resolution.
we could just, we could add it to the agenda tonight if you want, if you,
Yeah,
we
by all
have the
means.
information.
If it's that close, we should.
Yeah, like I said, September 30th too.
Yeah. Oh, that's not a lot of time.
So what do I have to do?
Do you have any info on it enough to tell us what you
In my head, not on me.
I
Just
guess,
bring whatever
yeah,
you got tomorrow. but let's
Honestly,
pass
all
it.
we're really doing is allowing CSC to apply for a grant, right? So that's
And
really,
rec,
it's
a
really,
joint-
it's really simple.
It's joint.
Yeah.
Right,
Don't
so-
forget rec.
Hold on.
It's a
So,
joint thing.
I'll make a motion that we amend the agenda, that we add the CSC, the approval of a CSC rec grant.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we allow the CSC committee to apply for a grant that has the deadline of September 30th
Second.
with recreation.
Second.
I'm sorry, does the grant have any match that the town needs to contribute? Or
Nope,
it's
free money.
just
No.
wonderful?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Simple. There you go.
That was
Oh, so we're
good.
done, we did that.
That was it.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Okay.
Hold on, now watch this magic at home, folks.
Oh, well, hold on. Let's tell them what the magic's about first. So
Well, why don't we,
We're going to bring up Mr. Reifenberg to present on the bus stops that he's been working very hard on.
Do you want to should I turn down the lights?
Yeah.
So people can see it? Thanks. Are you good?
we're good.
All right, so over the past month and a half or two, we've been having a discussion about the bus stops in town. I've started having meetings with the county, so I thought it's kind of a visual thing to look at the bus stops and talk about each one of them, so I figured a presentation would probably be better to get the board up to speed and also the residents who are here. So at any point during the presentation, if any of the board members or the attorney, just stop me and we'll talk about the slide while we're on it. So overview, we'll talk about why we're discussing this. We'll do an overview with the meeting with the county that we had. Where are the bus stops and the possible improvements to them? And we'll talk about future plans that we potentially can have as a town. So we'll start with why are we discussing the bus stops? So the first thing, which is probably the most important, is the safety of the residents and the people that use the public transportation within our town. We all know that the intersection of North Avenue and Route 44 is very busy. It has a lot of truck traffic, a lot of people making turns onto 44 going towards Poughkeepsie. If you've noticed, and there's usually people sitting on the curb right here alongside Route 44 waiting for the bus. There's nowhere to sit really in that area, and I'll show a better picture as we break down that bus stop itself. The intersection of West Road and Route 44, there's a bench there. We'll talk more about that, but it's not safe where it currently is. There's nowhere to sit or be protected from the sun or weather currently at any of our bus stops. And residents have reached out with concerns with what I've just went over. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we're discussing this. The town actually has other things that have been adopted that kind of force us as a town board to discuss this. One of them is the comprehensive plan. So out of the comprehensive plan, it says transportation goals should include a stronger emphasis on public transit and other alternatives to a car. So the comprehensive plan kind of guides us as a town that we should be having these conversations every so often. But more than that, it sets out in the comprehensive plan long-term and short-term goals when it was adopted. And there's only one long-term goal under public transportation, and that says periodically we'll review public transportation needs in the town and encourage alternatives to the dependence on individual automobiles. So that's exactly spelled out in the comprehensive plan that we should be having these conversations every couple of years. There's also one other spot with us being a climate smart community. In the climate smart community, it talks about the Climate Smart Communities program. It encourages local governments to develop creative strategies to increase the use of public transportation by residents and visitors, as well as the promotion of alternative transport modes. So that's one of the goals that we've adopted as a board, saying that we're a climate smart community. And I know that there's actually points involved with working on this, so potentially we could work towards silver and help you on that. So this isn't out of nowhere, out of thin air. That's kind of where we are today. So back on September 9th, I had a meeting virtually with David Whalen, who's the Deputy Commissioner of Public Works for the county, Michael Grattini, who's the Director of Public Transit, and Amanda Samone, who's the Assistant Director of Public Transit. County Legislator Houston was also on that call, and I just have to thank her. She's really, when I brought this up to her, she went full speed, set this meeting up, got in contact with everybody that we needed to, so she's been great. She couldn't be here tonight for other commitments, but thank you to her. So just to give you an overview, this is Route D that runs through the town of Pleasant Valley. It starts in Poughkeepsie and it ends out, I believe, in Amenia. So we have 6 stops, 3 going eastbound and 3 going westbound. Here in the hamlet of Pleasant Valley, there are currently 1 right in front of Town Hall going eastbound, 1 in front of, we'll call it the Redall Plaza there, in front of Styles with Marine, and there's 1 in Washington Hollow, kind of by La Porta Azul. And then going westbound towards Poughkeepsie, there's 1 in front of the, kind of where the bank and the other plaza is on the other side. And then there's 2 in the hamlet, 1 in front of Acme Plaza and 1 across the road here at the bike shop. Just to give you some statistics that the county gave us, there is about 25,000 people using this route monthly, just this route alone from Poughkeepsie to Amenia. The way that it currently works is it works as a flag stop. So basically it has bus stops right now, but you could be standing not at a bus stop and just wave a bus. And they, as long as it's safe for the bus to stop, they'll stop. And same thing getting dropped off. You just let the bus driver know and they'll stop and they'll drop you off wherever it is. The county is trying to, in the long-term goal, switch away from that. So that's where kind of we should be planning out in the next 10 to 15 years that we really should be thinking about where these are going to be located, because it might not be a flag stop system then. This route does 8 trips a day in both directions. I believe it's like 5 something in the morning till about 9 something the last bus goes through town. So I'll just go over each bus stop just in the hamlet here really quick. You have stop 133, that's the one right outside. This is a picture of where it currently sits. If you've never noticed it before, it's actually kind of hidden and set back. So if you're waiting for this, there's nowhere to sit. You kind of have to stand out by the road if you're waiting for that. So we had a lot of conversation about this one. If you look up towards the traffic light sign to the right there, just on the other side of the entryway here at Town Hall, there's actually a bench. So we had discussions of potentially moving the bus stop just up about 50 feet. It would bring it more out and be more visible because there's no trees there. And it would also be an economical way to just have a bench there if somebody wants to sit and wait for the bus. The county is actually going to come out and do a site visit for this one for the fact that they're concerned with the kind of curve here in the road. Their concern is if the bus stops here, there's a potential that somebody would go around it, and there's not the sight distance with that. They called it a suicide lane. I think we all understand that it's both directions there. So they're not against this. They're actually taking the time to come out and potentially move it. So I'll get an update from them on that. The next stop going eastbound is 145. This one's in front of Redall Plaza. There's kind of an issue with this one because, as you can see, there's either you stand on the sidewalk or sit on the sidewalk, or you sit up directly in front of the businesses at the Red Oak Plaza. So a lot of the time you'll see people waiting for the bus. They'll be sitting on that ledge in front of Styles for Marine there. So what I suggested and we talked about was there was a bench about, again, 50 feet up on the right that faced the Route 44, and if they could move that. The county was all for that. They're going to come out and look at it. They don't see any issues, so we'll probably see that sign moved within the next couple months. The good thing is that they've actually just installed 2 brand new benches there, giving even more, and it's kind of a win-win. It's good for the folks and the residents who are using the bus because now they have somewhere to sit, and it's also, I think, good for the businesses as well because now you won't have people waiting right in front of their business. Coming westbound, you have the Acme Plaza bus stop. This one has a lot of room. It's the busiest bus stop in our town. It's also probably the most dangerous for the fact that there's a lot of traffic turning from North Avenue onto 44, and a lot of times you'll see folks sitting right there on the curb. There's no shade, there's no trees, nothing like that. To give you some statistics of this bus stop, just at the 3 p.m. pickup, the bus picks between 5 and 6 residents up at that bus stop alone within our town. There's a lot of available parking behind there, so it does kind of go with the climate smart. I think one of the goals is to provide transportation where there's places to park your car and then use public transportation, so it could play into that as well. And talking to the county, this is one of the locations that they recommended maybe instead of doing benches that we partner with them to put a shelter up. And let me just make sure I didn't miss any of the stuff they wanted to talk about. The county is currently upgrading some of their shelters that they have in the county already. They're doing about 10 this year. Those are all concentrated in the city of Poughkeepsie right now. They did say it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that in the next 4 to 5 years that they would potentially invest in a shelter here. So it could be something we look into, but they said if we wanted to, that they would 100% partner with us. They already have the engineering done for these. They have most of all the specs, everything like that done. So I'll just show you this. This is what they're doing right now. They're going with it because it's kind of a minimalistic design. You can see on the roof there, it has a solar panel that provides lighting. The colors they're going with is not this. They're doing royal blue and orange to match the scheme on the buses. So all they ask of us is if this is something we decide to do to match what they're doing. There's 2 sizes available. The larger size, which I think is this one here, they said all in with the pad, everything like that, is approximately $20,000. So I think that might be including the solar panel as well and the lighting. They recommended we might not need that because it's fairly well lit in that area. So they're 100% ready to work with us if this is something that we wanted to potentially pursue. ARPA funds could be used for something like this as well, which we got almost $1 million of as well. They said if we don't want to do this, a temporary thing could be benches, which is what I approached them originally about, and they kind of threw this on my plate. But they did recommend if we did benches that we should do at least 2, just for the fact that it is such a busy stop. That one time it's 5 to 6 people, so if you only have one bench, you're going to have people still standing around or sitting on the curb. We'll kind of come back to the importance of having proper seating at this stop when we get to the bench by CVS. The last stop is by the bike shop here. Some statistics about this one, it's not really used much. Only one person usually gets on once a week. So this wasn't really a high priority topic that we talked about. There's really nowhere here to actually install a bench or anything like that. But the county did say they were completely open to discussing other places to put this bus stop. So that might be something that the board and the residents want to think about. There might be somewhere else in town that we could move this that would make more sense. So getting to the bench at CVS, I didn't realize this was an issue. This came up because I was talking to them about maybe moving one of the bus stops to this bench since we already had it. So when we started talking about this, what happens right now is because it's a flag stop system, people wait here for the bus because there's a bench. But what happens is this is not a safe spot for the bus to stop. So they continue past them and they stop on the other side of West Road. But for whatever reason, the way this bench is set up, it's kind of kitty corner here. So it's kind of facing the corner itself. And what they said what happens is the person stands up and they usually run through the intersection after the bus. And I think it's just, they're thinking that it's the way that it's angled there. So the conversation is that figure out who actually owns this, if it's the town, which I didn't know at the time if it was the town or if it was CVS that installed it. My guess is it's somehow associated with the town because it matches all the other benches. Their suggestion was if we could potentially remove this bench because it is causing issues with the bus. And the hope would be is if we dealt with the Acme Plaza by either putting in benches or doing the shelter, that it would alleviate this issue because people might walk the extra 150 feet to wait at a bench. So that was their idea for there. So moving forward, so as a community and just as a board, some of the things that we should be thinking about, the county site visit, once they visit out here to talk about moving some of these, I'll update you on that. This one's already pretty much a guarantee and it's gonna happen. They're gonna move the bus stop to the benches that are there. We have to look into the CVS bench and kind of see if we own it, and if we do, if we should have a discussion if we want to remove it or not. And then maybe I'll put this on the agenda as a discussion item next month at the workshop, and you guys can think about it a little bit and bring back your opinions of maybe doing a shelter or benches at the Acme, which will solve a lot of the other issues. And there are some grants out there. Also, there's ARPA money. And one of the short-term goals, which I don't think ever happened in the comprehensive plan, was that all this information should have been on the town website. So I'm going to work with whoever here and see if we can partner up and get the county stuff, because it's actually very hard to find the specifics of Pleasant Valley when you're looking for it. So that's all I got.
I'm sorry, excellent work. I had my mic off. Great job, Mike. I think we do own those benches, all of them. I think, yeah. I think they just put them wherever they wanted.
So one thing they did say is those wooden benches, from their experience, when you go, there's been towns in the past that have tried moving those wooden benches, and Amanda was laughing because whenever they go to move them, for whatever reason, they basically self-destruct. So we shouldn't plan on just moving a bench somewhere. The plan should be taking a bench out and just starting new, because it's not going to happen.
Oh, they're pretty rough shape anyway.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Again, excellent work. Okay, at this time, we'd like to move to open the meeting to the public. For one time only, if you can, to come up and talk about anything on the agenda tonight.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Point of reference, you have agenda at the bottom as a one-time only, but up here, you don't say.
So, all right, so here's what we're going to do from now on, because Mr. Vita made a couple of good points. So you can talk at the beginning, and you can talk at the end on anything.
So really quick, I think what we were trying to do, and I see what you're saying now, and I just saw that, was usually that second one said new items only, new business only, and this one usually said agenda items only, which agenda items allowed you to talk about anything, including old business. That's why I kind of moved the bus stop thing now, because you technically wouldn't have been able to talk about it after my presentation. So the second one should be for anything that falls under new business on the agenda. So like any of the discussions we're going to have after this.
It makes sense to be able to talk about agenda items after the board has discussed agenda items, because you might not have a comment.
Yeah, so what I'm getting at, what I think we should just do is we should remove this first portion and just open at the end for open it once for everything. Let them speak on the agenda after we've spoken, or
Well,
I don't agree with that
I
because
don't either.
if we're voting on a bunch of stuff tonight,
Right.
so they would never have a chance to
So
talk.
if someone has something to say
Yeah, no, I
before we
gotcha.
vote, it'd be good to hear.
I think we keep it the way we've been doing it.
Right.
But new business also includes new business
Right.
that's on the agenda.
Yes, so at
which
the
we were
end-
excluding before.
Right, so at the end, so, right, okay, I got you. Okay, I'm cool. I'm good with that.
We're talking about agenda items first. Okay, I just wanted to know.
No one's gonna get you in trouble. Who's gonna get, how you gonna get in trouble?
I don't know, in the past, I've been in trouble, so I'm a little squeamish.
We got rid of the 3-minute rule. We're talking twice a night. We're here till midnight half the time.
We're not getting cut off after 2
Right,
minutes,
right.
3 minutes. I
Go right
appreciate
ahead.
that very much. Mike, that was fantastic. When I was supervisor, I was on, the liaison, and we talked about the buses, and the shelters came, the original bus stop shelter came back then. So that was great information. Okay, so we're talking about agenda. My question would be on finishing the painting of the town hall. My only, Carol Campbell, 122 Marshall. My only question would be, why would we spend money on this if we're moving?
Well,
And what, is it a little amount, is it a big amount?
So, yeah, you could talk about this at the end as well. This is
Yeah.
under new business, like, because you haven't heard us
Oh,
speak
that's-
about this.
okay.
We haven't even
I mean,
talked
you
about
can
it.
ask us questions now if you really want to,
I'll
but if
ask
you
the
want to
que-
wait till the
I'll
end,
ask the
you're more than
question, and
welcome.
we'll see what the answer is.
Okay, fine.
How's that? Is that good? And the other is about the town website, so I think that's what that update is, so I will wait for that also. I can't pronounce that, Granicus, I guess. And the contract for the town hall for the engineering work. A couple of things. I was hoping the town board could provide a breakdown of engineering costs to date. I think we've kind of talked about it, or roundabout a couple of times. And I mentioned this last time, but I'll mention it again. I'm all for going forward with the building. I'm not against that in any way, but I am against spending the taxpayers' money if this board doesn't have a consensus that that's the direction we're going to be moving. So that's my comments. Thank you.
okay. Anyone else?
Gary Veeder, Salt Point Turnpike, Pleasant Valley. Thanks for changing it. Still don't understand it. But it is an improvement. A couple things. One is a notice, which I found out today. Salt Point Turnpike, which is getting patched currently, now is 30% patch and 70% road. Which doesn't make it any smoother, but I talked to the fellows working there, and the guy, the head guy patching there, said it's scheduled to go out the contract for next year. So, they told me that in 2020, it was gonna be 2021 too, so. My purpose in bringing it up is maybe you should just scratch their back a little and, okay. Couple things. And I don't know which one of these go under, but you're gonna get them all right now. The new street sweeper. I don't know about you fellas, but I got a truck that's a 97. And I keep driving it because I can't afford a new one. I can afford a used one. Why don't we look at prices on used sweepers if it's only being used 1 month? You can save a considerable amount of money and it's immediately available. Just a thought. At our compactor station, recycling center, scouts. I'll call them scouts because they're boys and they're girls, and I don't know. But they do an excellent job of saving us money recycling up there. And it's a considerable volume of stuff that they recycle. My suggestion is to get for lack of, so we all understand, I don't care about brands, but an Amish-type barn to put in the corner right by where they recycle, so that people can put stuff in when they're not there. It's not out rolling around, et cetera. I think it would help with our volume, and it would help them for sure. They use when they cash in the nickel items, they use it for trailers, camping gear, tents, and so forth, so it goes to I go there quite often to recycling. When I look in and see the amount of 5-cent depositable stuff in there, we're paying to get rid of that. They're using it. So if we can make it easier on them, and I have talked to them, and that's kind of would be what they would like. I would like to, when you talk about the bathroom thing design in Aldrich Park, I would like you to separate out the cost of the additional snack bar. I'm still very much opposed to a snack bar. That would have to be manned. It involves money.
I don't
It's
think
a-
that's included
There's
any
no snack
longer.
bar included up there.
That's out.
Pardon me?
That's out of the question at this point.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's been long.
I think that's been long gone due to
Yeah.
the nature of the building that we're
I
getting.
didn't know that,
Yeah.
so, thank you. One more here. The gully at Aldridge Park, I looked at it, and I thought that was pretty much settled, what was going to happen up there. I guess maybe I'll wait and listen and see if it isn't. If not, you get me again. And the other thing is just quite funny. It's from Councilman Ravenberg. We have this Granny Cussin here. Update. Well, never saw my granny, but I don't think she cusses. But at any rate, if you could put something on the agenda that's recognizable, it would help. I looked it up and saw that it was for the electronic stuff. But I'm looking at Granicus, and I said, oh, really? Okay, I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand up, come up to the thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I could see that we're giving it sound. There was two feeds. The first feed was the first 5 minutes or so of the meeting that has no sound, and there's a second feed that should have all the sound in the world.
Are they just
Okay.
tuning in now, and they're just getting the first 5 minutes? That could be. Tell it away, it gets better. We got feeds going now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're probably just turning it on now, and they're only getting the first few minutes where we were struggling. Yeah, okay. Thank you, though.
Okay, now as per Gary Veter's comment about possibly purchasing a used sweeper, I know his intentions are good, but as a retired heavy vehicle mechanic with a lot of experience, for something like a sweeper, the bottom line is if somebody is unloading a sweeper, it's because it is no longer cost effective to maintain it. And if we were to buy a supposedly, quote, good used sweeper, it would nickel and dime our highway department to death. And That I can pretty much promise you. We are much better off if we're going to make the investment. In the end, we're better off to buy a new piece of equipment, and then we know what we've got, and we've got a warranty. Just my 2 cents.
Okay. Anyone else? Not seeing any more. I move we close the meeting to the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business discussions, Traver Road traffic. Councilman Reifenberg, you wanted to bring this up? You want to hear any update of what I've got so
Yeah, I
far?
just, I think it's important that at least the residents kind of stay up to date of what's been transpiring since they brought this concern up. So, I don't know if you want to update we had an email from our highway superintendent, who had a meeting, so I just figured it would probably be smart to talk about it. So I don't know if you want me to talk about it, or if Councilman
Why don't you
O'Hanlon?
tell me- oh, I'll tell you what I know right now, and so I was charged to write that letter, and I did. And I did get a response back from both the state troopers and the sheriffs, who felt it was more their situation at the present time. The state troopers are currently in the middle of doing a series of, I guess, speed setups and checks right now. They've been there, this is probably be the second week, I believe, that they're in. They said they were gonna give us about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And after that, they're gonna give us a full report of what they have, how much paper they've issued, how many tickets they've given out, how many stops they made. They did it once before when we first asked earlier in the year, and they did not give us a full report, but they said it didn't amount to anything. But we're gonna use that as a comparison to now. And then comes up the sheriff's department, said they would do one as well.
And then I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll kind of update everybody. Highway Superintendent Baxter reached out to Gary Cooper at the Dutchess County Public Works, and they had a conversation about potentially putting a weight restriction on the road since the town owns it, and the county agrees that we could do that. But just to update you, it's not as simple as just putting a weight restriction on the road. The trucks and stuff like that don't just have to find an alternate route if the business is on the road. So it's something that the town is looking into, but it's not just as simple as putting some signs up on the road. So I just wanted to make sure that the residents knew that we were still actively looking into this, and it wasn't just something we forgot. And then I also think, maybe we take a different route of what are our other options as a board if we can't do a weight restriction. Is there other things just to maybe bring awareness to these trucks speeding down one of our roads of maybe how fast they're going? Maybe there's some grants out there for, they have those speed limit signs that tell you how fast you're going and what the speed limit actually is. What's the current speed limit on, do we know? So maybe we even think about,
It's higher on ours than the Grange end, right?
No.
Lower on ours. 35,
so
right.
maybe it's even something that maybe we approach LaGrange, because the issue we're having, or people are complaining about, is located in the town of LaGrange, traveling into Pleasant Valley. So maybe one of the steps we can take is to talk to LaGrange and maybe see if we can get them on board of maybe lowering their speed limits, because maybe one of the problems is that these trucks are going 40 and then they're really going 45, and then they just continue going 45. But I don't know if you want me to do that, if somebody else wants to do that.
I could certainly reach out to them, that's not a problem.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that we were still working on
Yep.
it.
I brought along the law in case you were wondering about that, and it's pretty much what you said. It's, you can limit certain size trucks, certain hours of the day, things like that, but there's always an exception if they're making a delivery on that road. So it makes it, only
If
a
the business
partial-
is on the road, you can't tell them,
Exactly.
they can't, yeah, it's difficult. So there's always a caveat that really pretty much supersedes everything we're gonna do. But I think the, going after, asking LaGrange might help that a little bit. Something, anything. My letter started off with help. I mean, we'll take anything at this point. Okay, anything any further on Traver Road? Okay, we have a resident here tonight, Miss Gillette. Oh, and she would like to appeal to the board of some of the permit fees. Would you like to, please, ma'am?
So I don't know how typical this is, so I apologize to everyone if I'm wasting your time. This is something I'm bringing up that's very self-serving, doesn't affect the community really overall. So, based on the, the prior conversations, I feel
Please
funny.
just start with your name and where you live.
Heather Gillette and 109 Melville, Pleasant Valley.
Thank you.
So I'm up here today to just ask for the possibility of lessening the fees to renew some building permits. We ran into a lot of difficult situations due to COVID. I don't want to always fall back on COVID, but in this case it is true that complications came into play. First step of the permit process, or step of the building process in our case for this particular building, was starting to do the excavation to make the pad for the building, and that's when we discovered that the materials that were there were clay and weren't safe. I hired an engineer who was local to come out and assess the concrete plan and make sure it was safe. He got COVID. Even though I paid the fees up front, I didn't get those plans from him for almost 8 months, which we couldn't move forward until I had those plans. Then I couldn't get a concrete contractor that I could afford. Prices skyrocketed from the time that I started. So here I am, basically, if you don't ask, you never know if it's possible, but I'm asking to have those fees lessened. I already paid them because I didn't want to lose out on finally finding the one concrete guy that could finally start that was affordable before winter hit. So I did pay them, but that's what I'm here to ask for today, is to see if they can be lessened.
Do you mind if I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
So you had a building permit, right? That's what you're, okay.
Correct.
Just to make sure we're all on the same page, was it good for 1 year?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and you said you paid the new fees for, did the building permit lapse and then you went and got a new building permit? Or are you asking us to think about lowering the renewal fee that you paid?
Just the renewal, sorry, to be clear, yes.
And did you pay 100% of what you paid the first time, or was it a discounted of 50% off?
It was not 50%, it was actually no, I don't think it was 50%. For the first permit was $12,000 something dollars, the renewal was $8,030.
Okay. That's all I have.
I'm not sure what the ratio typically is for renewal.
So when did it expire?
It expired in, I have my paperwork right there, several months ago. Can you see on there?
So I guess that's the thing. Did it expire and then you renewed it, or did
It
you
expired, and
or
then
did
I
you renew
renewed
it before it expired?
No, I did not realize it had expired,
Okay.
and I checked with the building department and only then found out it had expired.
Right.
That is my fault. I'm
Yeah.
not blaming anybody, I'm just,
So do we know when it expired?
that's the new one.
That's the new one.
Well, that's when it will expire.
Yeah, I could follow up with that information, guys, or pull it up on my
That's in-
computer.
that's how I report
It expired roughly 5 or 6 months ago.
Okay.
Some of the fees changed this year. I think that's why they're inquiring.
Yeah, because there's a, if it didn't expire and you renewed it, prior to it expiring, it would only be 50% of the original. But if it expires, it's usually typically 100% of the original fee. So
I
that's
see.
why I was asking if it had.
Thank you very, very much. Super helpful. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't
Yeah, it was
paying
issued
attention to the
probably
permit
okay.
because I couldn't even get the engineering plans done to move forward with getting bids. So when I finally got the bids and found a guy, that's when I recognized the permit had expired.
Could you do me a favor, or do the board a favor, actually, and could you hand us over your papers so that we know precisely the timelines and stuff?
Sure, may I grab what I have?
Which is where we could
Just make
make
copies
a
of them.
copy and we could have them.
Okay, let me grab what I have.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
I'll make copies for everybody.
So this references the original permit, and this is the renewal itself.
Okay. Oh, sweet, okay. Do you want just this, or do you want everything that she has?
That's the original, and it expired, correct?
The
That's
No,
the
this is the
renewal.
renewal.
And that expired as well?
No, the renewal, the expiration date is 2023 for
Okay.
the renewal.
Okay. So where was the first one that expired?
That
Let's
expired,
get
that's
that.
what we
don't have it with me, I could get it and bring it to you guys at a different point.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I'll tell you what we do. Why don't you bring us a copy of everything?
Okay.
Bring it back and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
That'll probably help us.
No, I think you'll start talking to him directly, and then if we have to vote on something, we'll vote on
Right.
something.
And we'll discuss it and we'll go from there. But at least we'll have everything in front of us so we can read a timeline and have everything.
Sure, I didn't know how this worked.
That's fine. No.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, let's bring it back here, folks. Hello. All right, continuing. The gully at Helen Aldridge Park.
Yeah, so kind of, reason I asked for this to be on the agenda is just like Mr. Viter was saying, is I was up there, I don't know, this past week, taking some pictures for actually helping out with the grant, and noticed that it's starting to actually grow back in. So I know we had done the RFP to have somebody haul material that Peckham donated to the town. We passed a resolution to award that, and then I know there was some concerns about the drainage that we discussed about 2 or 3 months after that, and I think that all got straightened out.
Correct.
So, and I know there were some issues of finding somebody who then could spread the material. I'm just trying to figure out, is there something that the town board needs to do in order to make this happen, or are we just,
I believe we're just waiting at this present time for availability.
I'm hoping to be able to get up there by the end of October and be able to get the drainage in and get that connected so we can move on with this project. We've just been busy with other stuff that.
okay. So we're waiting on the drainage part. And then my next question is do we have somebody who will spread it when the drainage gets in? And if not, what do we have to do to figure that out?
We're most likely going to have to hire someone to actually spread it, because it's not something that just, you bring the dirt and you dump it all in one pile, and then we send one of our guys to spread it. You got to kind of do it as they go.
So can we have Emily look into either an RFP or whatever we need to have for the workshop to get that process going? So once the drainage is in, they can just go and do it? And then have we been in contact with the company who we awarded the hauling to make sure that they're still willing to do it 6, 7 months, 9 months later?
I believe the,
Because that was done before.
It was before the gas and everything went up, so.
Sandra, have you been in contact with that person? That was someone that you would.
Snow fountain, I think.
Well, yeah, it was something that we should be doing.
I will contact them tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you need any help, let me know.
Yeah, I'll get them tomorrow, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I just,
Do we need to do an RFP for that? If there's somebody that could do it as a private person, and
It-
maybe as a self.
you just gotta make sure you turn your microphone on.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, say it again.
Do we actually need an RFP for a company that
Well, I don't know
I
how much,
might be?
I don't know how much what the value of this would be. We have to look at the procurement policy. I would need someone to work with me on an RFP, because I don't have the facts.
We
So-
have a couple people that are interested in doing it for, almost like donating their time as well. So we were waiting to see where we were to get this going, so we could add that on. I will contact first the person who's hauling the material first, to make sure that everything's still in place there. John, would you say October?
Yeah, I'm hoping
Would be
by
the
the end of
timeline?
By the end of October.
Right.
I'm just giving that looking way far. I'm hoping it's done sooner than that, but. we have to have another issue too, so.
So if I contact this person and then say, we're looking at probably starting this at that point? All right, and then I'll get a couple of the names that I have, and we can decide who can actually spread it.
Yeah, I
So
mean, we
you
have to.
can't do it, right?
No.
The spreader?
Yeah,
I don't have somebody that I can just have to sit up there all day with a machine. and
okay,
spread material.
okay. I just wanted to double check, because I didn't know what you were saying about it, okay.
I mean, we have to be careful about insurance and things like that. I mean, we don't
Right.
just want,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want someone just pop it up there.
And then just two more questions. With the, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, the contract with the RFP and whatnot, is there anything in there from what you're aware of that would potentially allow them to back out of this and that we would potentially have to do an RFP again?
Probably, there was probably a period of time within which that price
Okay.
was good, and.
Is there any chance that you would potentially look at that
I
fairly
sure
soon?
can.
So we can do another RFP if it needs to be done?
Probably look at it right now.
Okay.
But I mean, they might still choose to honor.
Yeah, just so we're ready if they decide not to for whatever reason. And then, just one last question for Greg. Was there any change in the plan for the drainage, after, so, in the beginning of this whole process, there was conversations about John and you working together to figure out the drainage, and that's why we went ahead and we did the RFP, and I had concerns about not directly involving you with it, but it was all figured out. And then we awarded the RFP, and then a couple months went by, and then we found out that there was concerns about the drainage, and you were asked to step in again and look at it. Was there any changes from the initial plan, initially to what the plan is now for the drainage?
Yeah,
Right ahead.
please.
I think it would be fair to say that the initial plan was what's up there now. And what we had proposed as a modification to that plan is to tie the two drain pipes that are coming into a box, and then that box into the pipe that goes off the property, so that it's all internal as opposed to allowing that to flow across the ground for just so that the water doesn't end up having head loss trying to get into the pipe going off the property.
Okay.
So that was the change that needs to be done that
Okay.
John's talking about doing in October.
Okay, and do we own that stuff already, or is that more cost, or?
Well, I mean, yes, we own it, but yes, it's also more cost because we've had to buy it, so it's gonna consist of a basin and some pipes to make the connection, some elbows and stuff and connectors to make all the proper connections, so.
Okay.
It's ballpark, probably less than $2 grand.
Okay, and then, I said I only had two more, but I just want to make sure that we're ready, when we're ready, we do this. It's starting to grow again. How did that get, what's the plan? Do we just go in and put a bunch of rock on top of everything that's grown in? Is that okay?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think that's gonna happen.
I just was making sure we didn't have to pay somebody to clear
It's
it out.
small brush right now, it's not even, it's more weeds than anything else.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Anything else on the gully at Helen Aldrich? Finish painting the town hall. So, getting back to the question, Carol Campbell, finish painting the town hall. So we live in a house. You live in a house, right? You take care of your house if you're gonna sell the house, correct? You maintain it, you keep up with it. This place hadn't been painted in, no one even knows when. That's how bad it has been. And as you have said before, this room came out great. It needs to be upkept to some degree. The bathrooms are a mess in regards to the painting there. The hallways, if you take a look at the hallways, our volume here at this, inside, yeah. Inside, I'm not talking about outside painting. Outside looks fairly decent still. There has been also improvements. We had to do the lines. We had to seal the blacktop. The front of the building has had, some nice additions from Climate Smart. Jean Curley did a great job with a pollinating garden that she has in the front. So we've been cleaning up things slowly but surely around as well as, internal. You have to upkeep things.
No, that's fine.
You know,
I appreciate that. I do love the room very much. I just didn't know if it was.
so if we get to the point, it's not really that bad. If we get to the point where we're ready to move out of here, and then we decide what we're gonna do with this building, it's better to be able to turn around and show them a building that's clean and ready to go for different applications. It could be anything. It could be a church that wants this for all we know, you know? So, it's just, and I just thought we'd bring it up to the board. We're at this point now, this room came out good, everyone likes it. Or do we want to go further? The next, we still have the quotes from all the different people. I don't care who we use.
So yeah, I guess we should probably discuss openly the quotes. So just so that everybody understands, one of them, I mean, the person we used for this, we don't know exactly, we just have a day rate and not really sure how much that's gonna cost. The other two, we're talking a little over 13,000 for one and over 21,000 for the other. So just so everybody's aware of
Right.
what we're talking about.
And then the third person gave a daily quote of 300 a day. And
Yeah, they did.
300 a day, and, or was it
It's
350 a day?
It's 350 a day. but
350 a day.
They estimated this room at 5 days. They don't have a estimate of the entire town hall, so there's
Right.
really no way to know how much
So
that's gonna cost.
what we did was kind of like an audition, if you will. That's what I thought it would be. And this person said, I could do this room for this, take 5 days to do it, and he did it. So if he continues with that,
Only other question, and that's for the board, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to not be talking there, but does the town have the money to?
we have money for repairs and upkeep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be the next question.
Just a matter of who we want to go with, how we want to go about it. Do we want to proceed with the same person in that same fashion, or do we want to go with another one of those other companies? The other companies appear to me like they'd want to come in and do the whole thing all at one time, which would put us all in a disarray. I think we should piecemeal it, piece by piece, and take one step at a time, do the stuff that's, not as intrusive to our day-to-day operations. That's just my take. But
Is it outside of the procurement policy, or require an RFP?
we already put out no.
No, we didn't do an RFP. We would have to do an RFP, I believe.
Yeah.
Bless you.
And, right.
Yeah, so I'll give you my opinion, I guess. I'm not against doing particular areas. I'll give you one example. Sorry to be graphic, but the men's room around the urinal, it's
It's a mess.
pretty embarrassing. So areas like that, I can see spending money to have somebody go in there and just clean that up. My personal opinion is I don't think we'll get the value put into painting the entire town hall, because in all reality, unless somebody's literally going to use this for what it is today, which is highly unlikely, they're probably going to be either tearing it down or reorganizing it the way they want. And at that point, the paint on the wall doesn't really matter. That's just my opinion. I don't know if we should be, if we're really die hard on moving,
Yeah,
and
no,
let's
I
get this
mean-
done and over with, should we
Well,
be?
we kind of know we have to get out of here. There's no question about it. There is no question about it. So it was just the thought that I bring up to see if we want to go any further. There are some areas that are really in rough shape, our back hallways.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to certain areas, but I don't think painting everything makes sense. If we're planning on moving out of here, I just think that we're throwing good money after bad.
So who do we want to use?
Well, we have to do an RFP.
Another RFP? Okay. All right.
Well, I guess it depends how much.
Well, yeah, if we're gonna hire the guy for like 3 days, we don't need an RFP.
If it's a small
We
amount.
can do that.
Right, that's what I mean. So we should come up with a list of what we think we all what needs to be addressed, and then maybe see what he would cost us day rate wise for that.
Okay?
Over 4,000 needing an RFP.
Cool.
Of priority. Okay. Granicus update.
At the open portion, you can.
So I just wanted to give an update, just because this has kind of been one of those things that have disappeared as well. We talked about this, we passed it, and then I've had a lot of questions of where it is, so I thought I'd give an update. I don't know, it was probably July, the end of July. There were some questions about the contract. So what happened was when we put it out to bid, we put it out to bid for FOIL software, management software, and Agenda Video Minutes software. So Granicus bid on both of them, but obviously the contract and all the writing that they provided, we only went with the one side of it, not the FOIL side of it. So when they sent back the revised contract, there was wording that had changed from the initial stuff because some of the software integrated together. So they changed some of that. So when Emily was looking that all over, she reached out to Councilman Mazzella and myself to look it over, and we had some questions to get that figured out. Long story short, that got sent back to the company back in August. We haven't heard anything, so I put it on the agenda, and Jen just reached out a couple days ago, and they still didn't answer the questions, so I have it on my calendar, and Jen has it on her calendar to, if we don't hear anything by Thursday, to figure out another plan, I guess, but that's where we're at.
So we're just really waiting on the contract, how they rewrite it or what?
We're waiting on them to answer our questions, and they've responded, but they ignored all the questions and said that they want, oh, we're okay with a one-year contract, but they didn't clarify any of the stuff we asked. So I don't know if that might come better from you, maybe contacting them directly as an attorney.
I think it's time for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a while, so.
I'll ask Jen to forward me the questions that she sent them, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was just really kind of, they rearranged some of the numbers and the names. It's probably okay, but I didn't, you know.
Yeah, they didn't really explain the change of names and stuff, so.
I'm just looking at everything here, and I'm noticing Mr. Bolner is still here, and I think he wanted to address something that pertained to the new building, that it's not on mainly because I guess Emily, we were gonna have a.
Oh, the new town hall?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, I think probably the finance committee to follow up with Melanie and Denise, because there isn't currently a capital account set up for the new town hall. And so when I was trying to do the resolution for the engineering work, I was told there wasn't an account. So we need to get that straightened out.
Yeah, I think one of the, and I think this is where we've been trying to get to, is we don't really, as the finance committee, have an idea of, I mean, obviously, we're gonna be working on bonding and whatnot, but we have no idea what we're looking at price-wise. And we have an idea for the beginning engineering, and we have the very rough estimates, but like, we can't start bonding. And I know, I saw the one email that said, we should have we should kind of know where all this money's coming from before we continue on. I don't know if maybe I just don't have the information, but Councilwoman Albrecht and myself have talked.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a clear understanding of how much is this actually going to cost, and then we can set up the account, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we set that account up, doesn't it open it up to referendum as well?
So that's the thing, is that there was already a resolution in 2018 to providing the money to purchase the town hall and to renovate. I think the number has grown since then, but there was that approval was already done, and I don't know if it went to referendum. It was available for
It did.
referendum.
I was there, I remember going to referendum.
Okay, so, and it passed?
It passed.
Yeah, so that was why I assumed that there would be an account. But, so it may just be a matter of reestablishing that account within the bookkeeping system.
All right.
Because,
It was an HO account.
right,
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
what I thought, what I assumed was that we could go ahead with this phase of the engineering work, refine the cost, and then, you know, revise the overall estimate. But, yeah, so we just need to have an offline conversation, I
Okay.
think, with Melanie and Denise, and Melanie wasn't there, and so, yeah.
So, I didn't want you to hang around all night long, just sitting here. I mean, is there anything you want to add to? I didn't mean to put you on the spot either. I'm sitting here,
Well, it's
you know.
the contract with Greg that we haven't been able to approve because we don't have the funds.
Right,
I mean,
and
it's not-
I can't move forward until it's approved. I mean, we have a,
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd get some progress, because the supervisor and I have a meeting with the Climate Smart people, and they're at about the point where they're gonna yank the grant because the town hasn't moved.
Right.
So I think one of the, just thinking out loud here, I think one of the issues that, it kind of doesn't make sense to me, is that before we have an actual final cost, which is what the emails kind of seem like we kind of had, and kind of what you said, we needed some of the engineering to be done, but they're saying that we need to know where all the money's coming from at the same time. So I think that's something that we need to talk about, because I still don't think we know the final number until we get some of these
Right.
engineering things done. And we definitely can't go out to bond or anything if we,
Until that, yeah, that.
it just doesn't make
Correct.
sense to me why,
But the engineering contract is 115,000, and there isn't currently a line set up for that. There's
But-
not enough in engineering for that.
So my
So it should be charged to the capital project, even if you don't have the total estimate worked out yet.
so
Yeah.
can we have all these accounts, like we have the capital reserve fund and all that stuff, which I think the plan was to use a big portion of that
Correct.
towards that. So could we just take, if, let's say we wanted to move forward as a board with the beginning of the engineering, the phase one, is there anything stopping us from just setting up an account using 100 and whatever to move into a separate account if we needed to, and just budget for that because that's all we know right now, or is that not allowed?
Well, I'll tell you what, I wrote up the resolution to approve Greg's contract. So if you want, we could go ahead with doing that and put in some kind of a statement about, the source of the funds.
I personally don't feel okay with that, just for the
Yeah.
fact that, like, we've been told that we kind of need to
Yeah.
do the opposite, but
And you
that's up
could
to the
always do a
board.
special meeting once we straighten this out, if you know.
I mean, do we want to just call a special meeting just to approve Greg's contract before our next meeting, so we don't have this grant pulled and whatnot? Like,
We
does that
don't
make
want to
sense?
lose the grant, and also some of the people that Greg has lined up, one of the things we talked about, the asbestos fellow especially, needs to move fairly quickly too, so this way we can find out where we are with that.
One of the other things is the total cost that we've spent already on the project, which I think is going to take some time, which is part of that. It seemed that one of the requirements to do this.
I sent that.
Well,
And,
we
but
have
Warren
the-
had said he was,
Yeah, the number that you sent me, was it 14,000 or something?
What I got from,
It was for the engineering so far, but there's gotta be some, there was the cost of buying the building, right? So I don't know if there's anything else, but yeah, that's probably it.
pretty much that's it. There was obviously upkeep where you gotta heat, we don't heat it, but just keeping the folks, we gotta really keep the, like for instance, we have to have a security system on it, things like that, that's general. But other than that, so do you want to call a special meeting for this?
Well, I think it makes sense just to draw up the resolution to create the proper account, to put the money into it. That way, we're just,
Yeah,
Melanie's not back until next week, so it's gotta be at
26th.
least the
Have to
following
be
week.
at least that, okay.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
We can
I
wait
think
another
we-
week, right?
I don't think we have a choice.
I don't think we have a choice, but we'll get it done in a week, hopefully.
All right. I didn't want you sitting here all night
Well,
long.
I was also, and if there was any discussion or questions related to the well,
Right.
RFP.
Oh, good call. Thank you.
Do you just wanna jump down to number 7 on the resolution?
Yeah, can we make an amendment to do that so Greg can go
Yeah.
home?
I'll second that. I'll make the motion to jump down to.
I'll second it. All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What, authorizing grant?
So where is it?
just to fill everyone in on this, so an RFP went out, it was advertised in the paper. There was only one proposal that came in, but Greg did compare it with another project that was comparable, to make sure that the price was reasonable, and you said it was very reasonable, right? So, that's what you have.
So the one price, what I compared it to is, when I was first putting this together in 2021, I reached out to a contractor, a drilling contractor that we use just to get an estimate of what the cost would be to drill the well. And so he had given me an estimate at that time that I was basically using. And that was one of the things that I put in there. That was in 2021. He just said he was too busy, so he didn't bid on it. I reached out to 4 different contractors. We only got directly, in addition to the ad in the paper, and we only got the one contract. People are, anyways, very busy. And then the other one that I gave is the Wheelerville School District, and very similar. We drilled a single well for the school, developed the well, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, that RFP that we put out for that well, I used that same language in the RFP for this well. I didn't reach out to those contractors or drillers because Wheelerville is 5 hours from here. I didn't think they would be interested in coming down this way. So I compared those bids, and it was very comparable, very, very fair, as I laid out in that Excel spreadsheet.
I don't want to be stupid here, but what would happen if it didn't take $16,000 to do this job?
What do you mean?
Because how deep do they know they're gonna go?
Oh.
How much casing are they gonna use? How much everything? So how do you give an estimate on a well when you really don't know what's gonna happen?
Well, that's why the bid, the way that the bid is laid out is I gave an estimate of 50 feet of overburden and 400-foot total rock depth, or total depth of well. And they gave a price.
At $3,500.
No,
No, they have
no.
unit
The
prices.
price
Sorry.
is based on those, the price is $19 per foot. So if we go down to 300 feet and we get enough water in the well, then they know that we're good. If we go down to 400 feet and we still don't have enough water, then there will need to be a field decision as to whether or not we continue further or we hydrofrac. So, you know, the cost of continuing further, it's absolutely not an exact science. And that's why we get prices per linear foot.
So the contract is a not to exceed, so they would charge, I assume they would charge the number of feet
Correct.
times the unit price. Yeah.
Correct.
That helps.
So if we hit water at 100 feet
We're done.
Then we're done.
and we're still,
No, we would pay,
it is gonna be based.
$50.
Thank you, that's what I was, that's what I needed.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, she just wanted to know that it was
She-
based,
yeah.
like, if we go down, the well goes down 100 feet, we're gonna be paying 100 feet worth of materials and all that. We're
Correct.
not paying for
We're
400
not
feet.
gonna pay,
Correct.
so that's, so the 16,000 is a guesstimate,
It's a maximum.
per se.
Based on estimated quantities, it is a
Because I know
bid.
you can hit it at 100, or you could be a 750 like my house,
Right.
so.
And I think I spoke to
And we
a
hit the
couple
motherland.
people in the area, and we're expecting to be around 400 feet.
Oh,
and-
okay, all right.
But if we only go down 300 feet and we hit plenty of water, we're done.
Okay.
We're not gonna keep going, just because that's what the contract says. But and that's what it states clearly, is they only get paid for what they do, and these are estimated quantities to the best of our ability to say how far we
Okay.
might have to go down.
All right. Thank you.
You're good?
And, yeah. So it's a $1,600 or $16,000 plus the $3,500, which would be the hydrofracking, which is to help to develop the aquifer.
Right. Okay. Do we want to pass this resolution now and go back, or do we want to?
Let's pass it and, well, it doesn't matter.
We can do it now.
Okay.
We got our questions answered.
We got all our questions answered? All right. Town Board Resolution 9015, 2022, authorizing a contract with P.F. Beal and Sons for the well drilling at Helen Aldrich Park. Whereas the town has planned the installation of a new restroom facility at Helen Aldrich Park, and whereas by Resolution 6113, 2021, the Town Board authorized funding for the restroom project and determined that the improvement was exempt from environmental review pursuant to SECRA. And whereas the Recreation Director has recommended that the town proceed with installation of the well needed for the restroom facility, and whereas the engineer of the town composed a request for proposals RFP, and by Resolution 8009, 2022, the Town Board authorized the release of the RFP, and whereas the RFP was advertised in Northern Dutchess News, and whereas one proposal was received from P.F. Beal and Sons Incorporated at a cost of $16,050 for the base bid items, an additional $3,500 if hydrofracking is needed. And whereas the engineer to the town compared this quote with other costs of similar projects and advised that the P.F. Beal quote is a reasonable price. Whereas the town board has determined that these goods and services are not subject to formal bidding requirements of 103, the general municipal law, and the guidelines of the town's procurement policy have been satisfied. And whereas the town board has determined that the proposal for P.F. Beal Sons Incorporated represents the lowest responsible proposal, and whereas the attorney to the town has prepared a formal contract for the proposed work which has been reviewed by the town board members. Now, therefore, be resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute the proposed contract with P.F. Beal and Sons Incorporated in the same or substantially the same for his form as presented to the town board. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Or any discussion other than what we had? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. I'm sorry about that. We probably should have done that in the beginning. I didn't realize where it was sitting. I'm losing my voice. That dunk booth. Where's Little League? Got me. All right. Okay. Rec master plan, is that right? That we left off at Granicus, we jumped away, rec master plan, Councilman Mazzello.
Go on to the podium.
Thought you were gonna hit me.
I know, I was dropping the microphone. Can I get that, I think you're gonna have to turn it back on for me, Mike. So, while we get this up and running, and if, Tony, if you can hit the lights. I really wanted to update, so back in 2011, in November of 2011, the town adopted a plan for its parks and for, let me figure out how to get that on the screen, though. No, I know that, hold on. There we go. So this, so the town back in 2011 adopted a plan for all of its parks, and I honestly don't think that many people know that we did this, that the town did this and spent $50,000 of taxpayer money to do this. So I really just wanted to I wanted to update everybody as to what the plan is, and honestly, this was adopted by the town board in 2011 by John McNair. Don Sagliano voted on it at the time, he was a councilman. I think that this is what we really should be spending our money on, right? So this is a look at, this is Katie Field and Field 2, right? So if everyone can see the entrance off of 44 at the top, right, they really removed the ball field because they knew it flooded. And I'm assuming they also looked at the data of it might just be a nice green space because it floods and it's easy to maintain. Field 2, obviously, Sandy, we were talking about what's going on there already. We know they need a softball field. It's no rocket surgery to figure out that you're on the right path to move towards that. This is Bauer Park. Now, this one will need some alterations due to some news from Councilman Reifenberg and Supervisor Delvecchio about that parcel that's right there that supposedly is being donated to the town. But this is really what Bauer Park really is. It's 2 soccer fields. And the thought process was, I guess, that we could maybe put a baseball field there, but knowing the needs of soccer, I think soccer needs to stay at Bauer. The addition, it's funny, right here is a playground that is actually over here, and then there's a tennis court that's supposed to be added over there, so that might be a good, use to get tennis back in the center of town again. This is the mill site. I honestly think that really the only changes here really is just upkeep at this point. So we'll come back to that image. That's Rettel. We'll come back to that at the end. But this is Helen Aldrich Park. So again, in the Helen Aldrich plan, there's already Baker Field. There is the potential for an addition of another soccer field or a ball field here. Obviously, you could see the improved parking, and then oddly, the restroom is supposed to go, I think, pinpoint accuracy to where it was planned for on this plan. But getting back to Rettel. So Rettel Park, we all know we need it. We all have talked about it over and over and over. I honestly think that it's pretty simple, right? The town spent almost $50,000 with this plan, the data in it, and I'll put it on the website for people. It's hundreds of pages of data of age groups, of what programs they're looking for and what they need and everything. So honestly, what I think really every rec group that has a rec mind should come together and have a meeting and figure out what that building lot should be for. Honestly, the plan is set up for all of our parks. We really, we should look at the budget this year, I think, in the process of, and try to figure out how to enable some more of this plan. But I really think that the key to Rettel is figuring out that new building lot and the 5.51 acres and what to put on it to bring the infrastructure to the park to make the park a real thing. I honestly think that that's the way to go. But I wanted everyone to understand that we actually have a plan. There was a plan. 2011, we voted on a plan. And I will get this up on the website tonight, so hopefully people can look at it, because it's a plan that the town adopted, and it has tons of data in there of age groups that are looking for what specific rec programs, and it was really well done. I have to say it was really well done. So, it does need some updating, like I mentioned to you. Obviously this building lot is left vacant for us to figure it out. Rettel Park, Bauer Park, obviously, we'll have to update that plan because we're getting new property over there, and little tweaks here and there. But I just want everyone to know that we have one, so we should really move forward together because this has already been predetermined for us. That's all I got. Any questions from the board?
There's only one thing I have to say.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Right. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
Well, the Recreation Committee really wants to follow.
Yeah, no, I think it, honestly, I think it behooves, it removes a lot of everything. It laid it out for us. They already did the data. We honestly, if we wanted to do a refresh, we can have a focus group of the rec committee verifying the data is still accurate, but I don't think Pleasant Valley's changed that much. I really don't. So there we are. That's all I got.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to propose about a 2-minute recess because
Yeah.
I have to.
I make a motion that we take a 2-minute recess.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
By the time we got to resolutions, I was
Yeah, I know. I gotta kill the mic. We're good.
think everybody had a chance to stretch their legs. Okay. PCAHV Partners for Climate Action Hudson Valley Grant Opportunities Recreation Director Sandra Coe. You're on again.
That was the Climate Smart grant?
So we already talked about this?
Yeah.
All right, so we pretty much
We're
don't
good,
have
right?
to...
Okay,
We're good
cool.
with that? Great.
Thanks. Thanks, Andy.
Except she's up next.
You're up next anyway.
Yeah, Adult Holiday Art Class Recreation Director. You're still up.
It's just to give an update, that we've opened registration started.
Might have to turn it on.
Okay, we've opened registration for an adult art class, and there is a limited number that we can have, so if you're interested, please don't wait. It's gonna be held up at the rec office.
Heard.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
All right. Short and sweet.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, new business resolutions, authorizing payment of abstract number 9 of 2022, Town Board Resolution 9009, 2022. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board has audited the bills presented by the town clerk, and an abstract has been compiled, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to pay all claims as follows for the year 2022. Abstract 9, 2022, general fund claims, $108,671.71. Abstract 9 of 2022, highway fund claims, $56,113.99. Abstract 9, 2022, prepaid, $4,825.41. Number 9, streetlights, $4,256.21. And another number 9, ambulance fund, $14,245.80. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do I hear discussion?
Yes, I'm going to make a motion to amend the first line, number 1, abstract 9 of 2022, general fund claims. I'd like to amend that total to $104,908.96.
104,000.
One more time, $104,908.96. And just so it's on the record, it's to not pay voucher 16802, voucher 16803, voucher 16844, voucher 16845.
Hold on. 803, 844,
845,
845,
16847, and 16846. That's my motion.
I'll second the amendment.
So just for a discussion part of that, to explain it.
Explain it.
So these are bills and vouchers, so just so everybody knows, basically, we get vouchers every month. They're signed by the department heads to approve the payment, and then at least 3 of the 5 town board members have to audit the vouchers, and we put our initials down at the bottom, and then that allows the payment to happen. So there's 6 or 7 vouchers here that are for paying somebody, and they're not properly signed off on the department approval, and there's some conversation of why or why not. So I figured it's probably the smartest to maybe hold off on paying these until the department heads are talked to make sure that they're valid, because I know there were some questions of where they were coming out of and whatnot. So that's why I made the motion. And then just while we're talking about it, I'm going to keep it very high level here, but it's a question for you, Emily. The reason I'm asking is because some of these are for a particular thing. I'm just curious if somebody applies for an application and the town doesn't take that application, is it all right to be then paying attorneys that work for the town to be working on an application that we don't have an application for?
I'm a little lost.
Yeah, so do you mind if I come over and just show you? I just don't want to say it if I don't.
I can hear.
They did present an initial proposal.
Unfortunately, it's not on next year.
Yeah.
It never came so my question is, if it never came before the board to actually accept it,
There was some.
I'm just trying to
There were some
understand.
meetings that occurred, though, that the board authorized me to go meet with the applicant, and the planning board attorney did as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what this is. Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna continue the same way, or are we gonna go?
No, yeah, my motion, yeah, we did
So
motion
we-
and a second.
We have a second on the motion.
To
change
amend it, yeah.
To amend it. All in favor?
Aye.
And
All in favor?
all in favor to pay the rest as is?
Aye.
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 Okay, that one. Budget modification. 2022, Resolution 9010, 2022, whereas the Town Board, Pleasant Valley, has an expenditure for 2022 adopted budget line items that will adjust the amounts in such budget lines, and whereas the Town Supervisor finds it necessary to amend 2022 adopted budget to meet these adjustments, and resolved, the Town Board of Pleasant Valley hereby authorizes and empowers the the bookkeeper and the Town Supervisor to modify the 2022 adopted budget as follows. Account A 1110499, Department Miscellaneous Interpreter, to increase $3,000. Revenue Account A 261000, Fines and Forfeited Bail, $3,000 increase. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Anybody?
Second.
All in any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 9011, budget modification of the Highway Fund. Whereas the Town Board of Pleasant Valley has an expenditure revenue for the 2022 adopted budget line items that will adjust the amounts in such budget lines, and whereas the department head finds it necessary to amend the 2022 adopted budget to meet these adjustments, and resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley hereby authorizes and powers and directs the bookkeeper and the Town Supervisor to modify the 2022 adopted budget as follows. Appropriation Revenue Account DA 5112201, CHIPS expenditures, equipment repairs, CHIPS expenditures, 1,000, increase at $1,873. Account DA 5130-483, equipment repairs, pre-winter plow trucks, increase 15,000. Account DA 5110-446, blacktop expense, decrease $1,873. And account DA 5110-483, sealer and stone, decrease 15,000. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 9012, authorizing the town assessor at Nunk-Pro-Tunk to make, how do you say that?
That's exactly right. It means retroactively. It means.
Why don't you read it? Go ahead. Be my
As
guest.
if you were doing it in the past.
Go ahead, you can read it.
Oh, you want me to read it?
When I start off a sentence
I
with
win the
Nunk-Pro-Tunk, I gotta tell you, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough the rest of the way.
Come on.
It's all yours.
Authorizing the town assessor, Nunk-Pro-Tunk, to make application to the Dutchess County Real Property Tax Service for merger of parcels 646502777780 and 646502758935 pursuant to Section 560 of the Real Property Tax Law. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board, by Resolution 6113/2021 dated June 16th, 2021, authorized an expenditure in the amount of $361,720 to install a standalone bathhouse, which would include a drinking water well and subsurface disposal system with a concession stand at the Helen Aldrich Park / Baker Field. And whereas the town board determined that action was a type 2 action under seeker, which did not require environmental review. And whereas the improvements were to be located in whole or in part on 2 parcels, the numbers I said before, which are part of the Helen Aldrich Park, which parcels had been created by prior subdivision approval of the planning board. And whereas in order to complete the project, Dutchess County Department of Health required that the said 2 parcels be merged into 1 parcel so that the improvements would be on a single parcel. And whereas the town assessor made application to the Dutchess County Real Property Tax Service pursuant to section 560 of the Real Property Tax Law to merge said parcels, and whereas the said merger process did not require application to and approval by the Town of Pleasant Valley Planning Board, and whereas questions have been raised as to whether the assessor was authorized by resolution to effect such merger, and whereas the merger application has been filed and approved by the Dutchess County Real Property Tax Service, now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town assessor, nunc pro tunc, or retroactively, to September 2nd, 2021, to make the necessary application to the Dutchess County Real Property Tax Service pursuant to Real Property Tax Law for the merger of said 2 parcels.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Emily, I'm going to ask you to read the second. I'm losing my voice, so I'd really like you to read this one as well.
Oh, sure. So this, just to preface it, this is a just-in-case resolution. You need to, I'm sure you've done this in the past, you need to do a local law that allows overriding the tax cap, and then
Right.
if you don't use it, that's fine, we can repeal it, but if you do need it, then you have it in place. Town Board Resolution 9013/2022, accepting a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2023 pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C, for commencement of the local law adoption process. Whereas the town board has determined that it may be necessary for the town of Pleasant Valley to exceed the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the town of Pleasant Valley pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C, for fiscal year 2023, and be it further I think that should be whereas. And whereas the attorney to the town has prepared a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2023 pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C, and the same has been reviewed and approved by the town board members. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby accepts the proposed local law D of 2022 entitled Local Law to Override the Tax Levy Limit for fiscal year 2023 pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C, for commencement of the local law adoption process. Be it further resolved that the town board hereby schedules a public hearing on said local law to be held on
The 3rd, I think it is.
3rd,
That's the next meeting.
October 3rd?
Is that
October
okay?
3rd.
On October 3rd, 2022, at the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Hall. This says 7:15. Do you want it earlier than that?
No, that's fine.
No.
Okay. At 7:15 PM, and that the public hearing be duly noticed by the town clerk as required by law.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Should we move?
have to do something about the wording?
Oh, I'll make a motion that we, I'll make a motion that we edit the wording to where it says be it further resolved the first time, then it says whereas instead. It's just a typo.
Sorry, yeah.
It's okay. Just so we dot our i's and cross our
Second?
t's.
All in favor?
Aye. And just really quick, do we really want to do 7:15? Because we're going to have to stay here till 7:15 to start the public hearing.
I say we just do 7 o'clock. I don't know why it's 7.
Yeah, all right, I'll make that motion again that we,
It probably, yeah.
yeah, I'll make a motion we edit to 7 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor of the whole thing?
Aye.
Aye.
You want to continue? Go right ahead. I'm honestly losing.
Yeah, no, it's sure. it's no
Please, thank
problem.
you.
We're just trying to work out who made what motions.
And you do it so well, so I'm
Yeah,
I
flattery will
yield.
get you everywhere. All right, Town Board Resolution 9014/2022, authorizing the town supervisor to execute an agreement for credit card acceptance services. Whereas by Resolution 7007/2022, the town board authorize the acceptance of credit cards for certain payments to the town and authorize contracting with one or more financing agencies or credit card issuers to provide credit card acceptance services. And whereas the Finance Committee of the Town Board has researched potential providers, including the service offered by Chase Bank, the combination of services the town court uses, and a service offered by M&T Bank through Hamer Enterprises. And whereas the Finance Committee recommends the Easy Net Pay internet payment services offered by Hamer Enterprises through M&T Bank, which will allow the town to accept credit card payments with a small service charge to the user and no cost to the town. And whereas Hamer has provided a proposed contract which has been reviewed by the attorney to the town, and both parties have agreed to add a statement that Hamer will comply with New York State General Municipal Law, Section 5B, that just has some requirements for the authentication that they have to do. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute an agreement with Hamer Enterprises in substantially the same form as attached here too, pending addition of the statement of compliance with General Municipal Law 5B. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to open an account with M&T Bank if necessary to facilitate the collection of fees paid by credit card.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Hallelujah.
Huh?
Hallelujah.
I said hallelujah. We were taking credit.
Hallelujah. Okay.
Oh, we already did.
I make a motion that we allow Resolution 9016 of 2022 on the agenda.
Didn't we do that one?
No, we did 15.
We did 50, didn't you say
Hold
15?
on. He said 16.
16.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to get to that resolution.
It's under items of special consideration.
No, I know.
I second the motion. It's way, way back.
The last two.
Okay, gotcha. We're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
So this.
well, wait a minute.
This
Go
is
ahead.
about the Recreation Committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we've worked out, I still think it would be a good idea to do kind of a fresh resolution, just clarifying all the terms, because it's a little bit jumbled. But I think what this current resolution does is it acknowledges Joy Dyson's resignation and allows you to appoint a new committee member to that term if the board would like to do so.
So what are we doing? We're gonna rewrite this or not rewrite it?
Well, I think this resolution is okay if the board is in agreement on who you want to appoint to that position.
Well, should we read the resolution, then have a discussion
Oh,
and
that's
see
a
if...
good idea,
you-
yeah.
And see if
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
if not, we'll just table it?
Sure.
I think we should table it because I think there's some things we need to discuss about it, that I think we should,
So,
Can't we discuss them tonight?
yeah,
So-
later on.
Oh, in executive
Yeah.
session, you mean? Got it.
Okay. So I think we should table that.
well, make that motion.
I motion that we table this to go to executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
No, hold on, discussion. What is your reasoning for tabling it?
Just information found out about different things. I wanted to clear it up, and it really should be brought out in public. I think about personnel.
So,
It's about an employee at the town?
No, person on the committee.
I guess, are we allowed to discuss that in executive session?
If it's about a particular person, yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming because of the, only one eye happened, so I would assume that you should do a roll call, is what I'm gonna say.
Okay, excuse me, Councilwoman Albrecht,
nay.
Councilman Mazzella,
I don't know what we need to talk about, so I'm gonna, nay.
Councilman O'Hanlon,
Aye.
Councilman Reifenberg,
aye.
Supervisor Delvecchio.
Aye.
Okay, table.
All right. Well, we- Not a big deal. Okay, and we, this one as well for special.
I make a motion that we allow Resolution 9017, 2022 on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I might go right to 18, where's my 17? Over here. Okay. Appointment of alternate constable. Whereas now exists on the town of Pleasant Valley, the town board has a vacancy of alternate constable part-time. And whereas Samantha Burnett has expressed an interest in being appointed an alternate constable, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby designate and appoint Samantha Burnett as an alternate constable part-time to fill a,
This goes forever, right, until,
It's for,
it's a year term?
is it a year term?
I don't know. Brooke wrote that.
Oh, we reappoint them at the reorganization meeting. Okay, so I would say to fill a one-year term?
One-year term.
Yeah.
Yep. Effective immediately as follows, appointment September,
19th is today.
Well, do you want a year, or do you want just the rest of this year?
Well, remainder of this year, I should say, so you should,
to
yeah.
fill the remainder of this year.
Why don't we can make that a resolution so it's a little more formal, or I'll make that an amendment at the end. That's a little more formal. Right?
okay, and term would then expire January 1st, wouldn't it?
Yes.
December
Yeah.
31st.
December 31st. Okay.
So I'll make a motion, do we amend it to say the remainder of this year
Yeah. Until December 31st.
until December 31st?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And all in favor, do we have a motion?
So let's say I'll make the motion. I don't know if anybody did or not.
All right, second. All in favor, any discussion on Samantha? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those are done.
Can I just ask, is the thing that needs to be discussed in executive session going to take very long?
No.
So before we open this back up to the public, do we want to do we want to do public portion and then come back and do the resolution?
Well, we still had a couple more things, but it's really stuff that's really, no updates on it yet, so, I'm sorry, what was the last part of your question?
No, I just was wondering if we wanted to do a quick executive session so we can come out and vote on this, if we're going to vote on it tonight, prior to, if we have,
It won't take all that long, I don't think.
okay.
So we can open up, I move that we open the meeting to the public, open the meeting up to the public.
Hold on. There's the old business discussions are there.
Changing the name of Field 2 to Howe Park is still in holding. We're still waiting for Rich Canaro.
Has there been any update on that?
I've called him 3 times. Rich calls back when he's ready.
So can
Yeah,
we,
so
can we
change
cancel
it?
that and
Can we
have somebody else
cancel
do it?
and go somewhere else?
We can. I
hate
mean,
to
he's
do
already,
that, but-
I think he's already done it. It's just a matter of him answering his phone.
It's been like 3 months, 4
Yeah,
months.
This is insane.
I mean, how long are we
I'll
gonna
try
stay on
again
this?
tomorrow. And then if not, we'll move on. Call Rich. Okay. And property changes to stream, I think we're done with this. We
Yeah,
don't-
we're done with
We're done
that.
with this. This
Yeah.
shouldn't even be there. Okay, now I make a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go right ahead.
Carol Campbell, Marshall Road. Mary, you said that you might be able to get together some numbers on the compactor. I just bringing it up again because I noticed that Mary Beth in her report stated that refuse statistics, I know it's only refuse to date, is 45,983. That doesn't sound like a lot. Again, I don't know the expenses, and, I'm just, because the budget is getting ready to roll out, I'm just curious where we are.
Well, I thought the quarterly reports were gonna be quarterly. So I really, I asked Melanie to get that together for me for the end of September.
Okay, that'd be great.
So, once yeah, the next meeting, we should be able to do that very
That-
easily.
yeah.
She said that it's very quick.
I appreciate that. You know, now that I can see this, it's just that
Yeah.
I'm curious as to where we are now that we got the roll-off truck and, you know, we did increase it and kind of see where we are. And I'm gonna say that my next question is probably a no, but will the credit card, will we be able to use that at the compactor?
It's supposed to, yes.
Oh,
That's
oh.
supposed to be one of the spots that can be used, yes.
That's great. Thank you.
It
I-
should be able to be used for almost anything in the town, especially the clerk's office and. yes.
There's gonna be a lot of people happy
Yeah.
happy about that. And the other thing, real quick, goes back to traffic on North Ave. I mentioned it at the last meeting, and I know that Councilman O'Hanlon had been working on this. I still think it's an accident waiting to happen at that intersection. So I'm curious to know if there's been any updates. Are we gonna try to move that back? It's just a very bad intersection.
Well, DOT did agree that, you know, it was a really good idea to move the stop line back, and they just, for some reason, haven't given us a timeline on it, and I don't understand because it's something that could probably be done in an hour.
So you're still waiting for them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate knowing that. And then, I guess the other thing is the traffic lights in town. That seems to be,
They're fun.
they're
So-
fine?
They're fun.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, every day was something different.
Okay, all right. Thank you, appreciate it.
That's a dream sequence. We're all dreaming. We're really not here.
Well, I
So
thought
did
it,
we.
I thought it was a 3-minute timer. It sounds like the old
Matt?
3-minute timer.
Anybody else?
And you're gonna miss McDonald's.
All right, hold on. Yeah, hearing none, I'd like to close the meeting to the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Before we close out, I do have to have the clerk present you guys with the preliminary budget. This is the supervisor's preliminary
This is a
first
supervisor's
draft budget thing that you all get to take home, and digest and look, and then there's some dates we have to maintain.
Yep, I saw those.
This is not available until after, I believe,
The October
until October 17th, when the board has had a chance to look at it. And, yes, please, that would be great. So I believe at the October 17th meeting, that's when it's all available. All right? Did you all get one of these sheets that Melanie sent us?
Yeah.
So we all
Yeah,
know
I
the
agree with that.
Timeline. The reason why we had to move this one up, by the way, the last date, is because the date they give us falls on a Sunday.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, and this is the next meeting, the meeting we would have before that, so.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session?
Make a motion, to go into executive session.
Yeah, I make a motion, we go into executive session for 105.1F personnel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you want to, you can. I don't know what,
No.
I don't know what the,
I mean, we're gonna come back out of executive session at some point.
I'll wait for it.
right, we're online.
We're online.
Motion to come out of executive session?
I'll second that, let the time be known, it's 10:04. According to that clock, it's a weird time. The hour hand is not in the right spot, that's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution,
Do you want me to read it for you? Because your voice?
please.
I don't mind, I don't
Go
mind.
right ahead.
Okay.
I get it.
Town,
I get it.
Town Board Resolution number 9616 of 2022, filling a vacancy on the Town of Pleasant Valley Recreation Committee. Whereas by Resolution 57, 2012, the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley established a Recreation Committee to serve in an advisory capacity to make recommendations to the Town Board with respect to equipment, operation, and maintenance to town playgrounds, parks, recreation center, and perform such other related duties as may be responsibly referred to by the Town Board. And whereas by Resolution 6109 of 2021, the Town Board appointed Joy Dyson to serve on the Recreation Committee for a term to expire December 31st, 2026. And whereas Joy Dyson submitted her resignation letter effective November 9th, 2021, leaving a vacancy on the committee, and whereas the Town Board would like to fill that vacancy on the committee, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board acknowledges and adopts Joy Dyson's resignation and thanks her for her service, and be it further resolved that the Town Board, that the following individual is hereby appointed to the Recreation Committee for the term stated below. The name is Jean Curley, and her term will expire December 31st, 2026. I will make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.